This podcast is brought to you by Squarespace. A massive thank you to Squarespace for partnering with the show. And it's a full circle moment for me. As you guys know, I've already told you this story, but all the way back when I started this podcast, I needed a website for people to be able to go to, check it out, and I actually used Squarespace. The amount of improvement from then till now, so I could do it without coding or anything like that. 10, 15 years ago, I could do it. It's even easier now. The amount of improvement they've made is crazy. So if I could do it back then, you can do it now. It's perfect to build your website. You don't need coding or anything like that. If you're a tradie or whatever it is that you have as a business, you can keep track of everything. Invoicing, scheduling. It's unbelievable. You'll be so surprised once you actually get into it and use it, and also how easy it is. So go to squarespace.com/bloke for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use offer code BLOKE to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. And as always, a massive thank you to Squarespace. As I said, so easy to use. If you're a small business, you need to use Squarespace. It looks super professional, easy as to use, and it keeps track of everything, and hopefully will increase your business. A massive thank you to Squarespace.
Just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar. Another weekend of footy done and doosted. But we have a very special guest. Now, Leaguey was supposed to be here as well, but he's got like some law degree, some test about being a lawyer or something like that. Very convenient.
Woke.
Yeah. What a woke loser. Studying at university. Weirdo. And also very convenient as well. Being essentially a pommy, basically. Yeah. Team gets dominated and basically going to lose 3-0. And he doesn't have the guts to turn up. Very lawyer-esque of him, to be honest.
Yeah.
Very lawyer-esque of him. And also convenient that he would sign up for a law degree all those years ago so that he could use that as an excuse today.
To get out of today.
Which is it's disappointing, but as a lawyer, I don't have much trust. So, Leaguey, he's not here today, but obviously we love the Leaguey. You'll see more of him. But we have Searley, and because, leading into this whole Pacific Champs, I wanted to get a Samoan, a Tongan on, a Kiwi, and a Pommy, and we got Leaguey as a Pommy.
Yeah, Pommy, yep.
And so we've got a Kiwi. How you going, mate?
Yeah, good. What, from Eden Park last night to here, so...
Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah, Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah. Look a bit like Pitbull.
I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but I'll roll with it anyway. Bloke's making good money, so I'll play that. But yeah, big 24 hours. Excited to be here, though, especially off the back of that Kiwi's performance. It could have gone horribly wrong for me. I could be rolling in.
Well, I was actually hoping for it, to be honest, for content's sake. Not because I want to see you suffer, but you here upset would be better for me.
Fair enough.
Sorry about him, sir. Get used to it.
He's a bag of laughs, isn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
Now, mate, walk us through. So, Searley Talks Sports on Instagram and across all the socials.
Yeah.
First of all, how'd you get into it? All that good stuff.
Basically, lockdown was pretty big for me. You were actually one of the first guests on my podcast during COVID.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was obviously a very memorable podcast because I know you rank it highly up there. It's a day you've never forgotten. During lockdown, just jumped on Zoom basically and punched out a whole bunch of podcasts. Sean Johnson, Joe Parker, some guys that have worked out to be really
I'm glad that
my
name was mentioned in those two.
First.
Yeah, of course.
First. So there you go. And then, it's kind of just rolled from there. Have linked up with the Warriors, so I run their club podcast now, do a bit of stuff with them. Been on Sean's show, League Lounge, a fair few times too. So just a Kiwi footy fan that loves rugby
Sean or
league.
Shane?
Shane.
Shane Johnson.
Yeah, he's still cut about that clip we did together at Magic Round.
Oh, really? Heard him, eh?
Yeah,
stung the big fella.
Did hurt
okay, I'm in his head. What is it, play on show?
Yes, play on.
Maybe there needs to be a bit of banter back and forth between us and play on.
Make it happen.
And did you, growing up, into sport or whatever, you just named some big names.
Yeah.
How'd you get to get those kind of connections to have them on the show?
Yeah, it was all just friends of friends, really. I grew up playing rugby union against Sean when he was doing league and rugby back in high school. So I've got a union background.
So you would have been there when he was the touch highlights were getting thrown out.
Yeah, I was on the receiving end of multiple of those, but it almost validated me seeing him go through and do it in the NRL because it made me realise maybe I'm not as bad as I thought.
True, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, he broke my ankles on multiple occasions, and it kind of just rolled through from there. Friends of friends, you just get passed on, and all of a sudden things are happening. And I've kind of jumped across to the dark side, play rugby union, but much the state of the game these days.
Come on, league's more fun, bro.
Exactly, better product to watch and better to get around. So spend most of my time talking rugby league.
All right, well, we're going to get into plenty of rugby league today. The great Hamiso, how you going, bro?
Kia ora. I'm very well.
Nailed it.
Thank you. I'm reading.
I like the way you rolled the R there.
Yeah. I'm up to speed with it all. I'm actually reading Sean's book at the moment.
Oh, yes.
Perspective, or Perspective, I think they call it over in New Zealand. About 100 pages. I've just got through where he spent a bit of time playing rugby union.
Yeah.
Walked away from league. I've just got to that part. Great book though. Inspirational guy. Doing it really well. Hey, this weekend I had a Bucks down in Melbourne.
Ooh,
and at the
okay.
airport. How about this for a brush with fame?
Okay.
Bumped into Scotty Prince, West Tigers premiership winning
Scotty
captain.
Prince, one of the great men.
Yeah,
Scotty
yeah.
Prince.
And also he's gone back to back with the Broncos girls as well.
Yep.
In the NRLW.
When I went back, so when I quit footy and then the Broncos called, said, "Do you want to come back?" I said, "Yeah, I'm not doing much." Okay. Princey was there at the Broncos.
Gun.
One of the great men.
He was probably my favourite player growing up. So very
So
emotional
good.
weekend for me.
In a weird, he was in such a weird era in Origin because like most other eras, he probably starts for the Queensland side like pretty much every year.
Yeah, yep. He still played like 12 Origins or whatever.
Yeah,
He just got stuck behind Thurston.
Yep.
But,
Similar like any number 9 when Cam Smith was there.
Yeah.
So it's like doesn't matter how good you are, you're not getting that jersey.
100%. But yeah, him and Benji, that was good times.
Oh yeah. Oh, the Prince, eh?
Yep.
Memories.
Yep.
Did you fangirl?
Big time. Yeah, yeah.
Why do they say fangirl? Because dudes fan is just as much as girls.
That's right. I fan.
I'm all about equality.
Yeah. Good to see him again. Go Tigers.
Okay, let's get into it, shall we? This episode is brought to you by Grumpy Coffee. Grab your Grumpy Coffee from grumpycoffee.com.au. Let's face a bit of music. Brought to you by friends over at Sportsbet. And just quietly, might have had a bit of Dylan Brown jam on the weekend. Did you check my feed?
Did you have Dylan Brown on there?
For 2 or more?
Did ya?
Thank you.
Not bad.
Thank
Two
you.
or more.
2 or more. Thanks for coming, baby.
You got this week's lotto numbers while you're up there?
Yeah,
or-
well, no. See, lotto numbers is all luck.
Whack 'em on the
This is
feed.
skill. That's luck. This is skill, mate.
Yep.
So give us a follow on the field. If you want Sizzler all you can eat, get me on the feed.
Nice. Get around in, folks. Pretty simple. All right, let's go through these results.
I'm a market mover, they call me.
Yeah, I
a
can
market
tell.
mover. When I put stuff on, the market moves.
The market listens. All right, 2 games we had a crack at for Face the Music over the weekend. The first one, of course, the second Ashes Test. England 4 defeated by Australia 14. Only one person pocketed points for a correct result. That was Denon, who had Australia head-to-head for a whopping $1.12.
Yes, you all laughed. You all were disrespectful. You all sat there and laughed at the GOAT that won Face the Music this year. But, the results speak for themselves.
Whatever helps you sleep at night, mate. $1.12, a hard-earned $1.12. Only one of us, though, sharp enough to pick a try scorer. That was me. Hudson Young, $3.50. Thanks for coming. That's much more respectable punting.
Luck.
No.
Everyone knew Hudson Young was going to score.
Well, why didn't you put him there?
I went for the hard ones that no one knew were going to score.
Katoni Staggs. and he didn't score. You're spot on. All right, next game. Kiwis 40 defeat Tonga 14. Denon very brave again. Kiwis head-to-head, $1.39.
Kia ora.
Yep.
Market mover. Market mover.
Market mover, baby.
Yeah, that's right. I had them minus 8.5 for $1.90. That's how you do it. At this point, worth calling out that the Leaguey still on a nudie run across his 2 episodes on the show.
Wow.
So maybe that's why
He might have to take that
didn't
green jacket on.
take it off.
Yeah, take it on. That's weird.
Do a lap
to
of
say.
Mooseheads and up and down Northbourne Avenue down in
Yep,
Canberra.
I think so.
All right, try scorers. Let's get into them. Denon, you had Casey McLean, $1.80 for
Thanks
you.
for coming,
Well
baby.
done. Matty Timico for me, $3. Seeing him like beach balls. The Leaguey,
Pumpkins.
he had Keanu Kinney, $2.60. So off the nudie run. Well done to you, Leaguey. So internationals week 2, $8.40 for myself.
Did you not do it?
He's got no points, mate. Nudie run.
Oh my god, bro.
Yeah.
He always chokes. Business end, choker. Known
Yeah.
choker. Like, we get into the business end, choking.
Yeah.
Didn't you go all right last week?
He was all right last week.
Yeah, see,
But,
choker. Known choker.
Yeah.
Feel like his club.
Well, low blow. Low blow. So I'm in front for the postseason. I'm on,
Literally makes no sense. Rabbitoh's not known for choking, but anyway.
No. Good gag, though. Good gag, though.
Yeah.
1-0 to me. Thank you.
all right, week 2, myself, $8.40. You, Denon, $4.31. The Leaguey, $2.60. Matty, a duckhead for week 2. Overall postseason, myself, $10.33. Matty still in second, $5.66. $4.31 for you, and the Leaguey on $2.60. So Searley, we'll let you jump in the rotating kind of chair this week. Hopefully you can salvage the mess that the Leaguey has left for you. But
Yes.
That's Face the Music Internationals week 2.
You're like Manly winning when it doesn't matter.
Me?
Yeah. Like, no one really cares about
This is the postseason, mate. This is where the cream rises to the top. This should be the pinnacle, much like Test footy. This should be the pinnacle of the game.
Yeah. In New
So-
Zealand, it is the pinnacle. So you could say Hammy's currently
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
want
the
to,
best punter in the world.
feel free to,
International footy, the pinnacle of
feel
rugby
free to
league.
come to the party whenever you're ready. Mate. Yeah,
Oh, that's Face the Music, brought to you by Sportsbet, the Melbourne Cup.
Melbourne Cup, big day tomorrow. So end of the show, Well, I'll get everyone to throw a Melbourne Cup winner in there as well. Feel free to just lean on a bit of if there's a bit of synergy with rugby league. That's certainly what I've done with my pick for the race.
Okay.
So stay tuned for that. But yeah, we'll get some Melbourne Cup tips and of course round 3 of the internationals as well.
Okay, so give us a follow on the feed on Sportsbet. A massive thank you as always to Sportsbet. I tell you what, the content's getting churned out. I'm liking it on the socials. So give Sportsbet I'm sure most people are following Sportsbet on socials, but if you're not, give them a follow because they're churning the content out.
That's right. Get out from under that rock. And,
absolutely. One of the prime movers and shakers of content on social media, Sportsbet, Facebook, all those years ago.
Yep, I've always said that.
You did say that.
Now doing some more stuff on TikTok, so get over there.
Maybe Hammy dancing. Well, actually, you've danced heaps.
I've danced years ago, mate. I've already ticked that box. So
that sucks.
Yeah, doing some other stuff on there now. So if you're not on there, get on there and come and see what I'm doing.
Okay, see what he's doing.
Yep.
Alrighty, let's get into the Code Sports Story of the Week. Proudly brought to you by Code Sports. A massive thank you as always. Go to codesports.com.au/bloke and you'll get a discount. But Mobsy, mate, how you going first of all?
Boys, I'm good, thank you. That was very enjoyable. Melbourne Cup Day, I'm from Sydney. I'm familiar with Big Dance Day. Melbourne Cup Day, I'm...
Unfamiliar?
A little foreign.
Okay.
Cup Day. It's actually not bad. I spent about a decade living down there, and you can actually turn it into a 4-day weekend pretty easily. So I'm all for it.
Isn't Everest taking the crown these days?
No.
No? Okay.
Still a cup.
That's what the articles are saying. Everest has got it. Now, would there be certain people that know each other that are trying to push some certain agenda on the media? No, that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Never happened.
Never
never say that.
Never, ever happened.
But yes, Mobsy, how you going, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. I know we had a couple of pre-arranged ideas coming in, but some breaking news I wouldn't mind sharing with you guys.
Oh, we're going to be a breaking news show.
Breaking news show. So, Manly Chief Executive Tony Mestrov is going to quit the Sea Eagles. Head over to Code Sports for the latest on that, but this has just come in the last 15 minutes. So the club's expected to make an announcement later this week that they have mutually agreed to part ways.
Mutual agreement.
So the mutual agreement stuff always
stinks of the club saying see you
concerned.
later.
Yeah. Is he going to do a 1-year deal with the Roosters as well, do we think? Or where's he off to?
Before heading off to Perth or PNG or something?
Yeah.
No, not
Well,
sure
he is a
at
club
this
legend.
point.
He's a club legend.
That's right.
So our great mate Phil Buzz Rothfield has broken this story. So he's tried calling Scott Penn this morning, who may be in New York or he jet sets around a lot. Scott Penn hasn't answered at this point in time, but obviously Mestrov's been at the centre of some pretty messy negotiations this year, obviously with Daly Cherry Evans, as you mentioned, who's expected to be announced as a Rooster at any time for the world's worst kept rugby league secret. The other one's obviously the Tom Trbojevic negotiations about the 1-year extension that it's whittled down to now, but it led to believe that it's unrelated to those incidents, to those contract negotiations. However, this will be something that we'll keep looking at. So big news for Manly because they're a club that has not had a lot of success for the kind of talent they've had the last couple of years, right? You look at the Trbojevics on $1 million contracts, DCE, have not really carried on that from that team that was making grand finals in the early 2010s, right? So big.
I mean, it's surprising, but at the same time, it's been turmoil at that club for years now. And so, as a CEO, regardless of if you feel it's your fault or not, unfortunately, the buck stops with you. If the environment seems crazy and there's so many different stories getting leaked, if you're the top of the prop, you got to take the fall. I'm surprised. I felt, if I'm being honest, just my speculation was that he had quite a lot of sway there. So even though that it was kind of up and down or whatever, I thought he had the right people in his corner to kind of see him through it to a degree. However, if you're judging just on, look, I'm not sure about the finances of Manly. It's to my understanding, it's actually going quite well, Manly, when you look at all the sellouts. But if you're judging purely on just results and the vibe of the club in regards to what we read in the media, it hasn't been great. I don't think there's many people that would sit there and say Manly have been an extremely well-run, a really good administration for the last couple of years. Now, that might be, people in administration below Mestrov, but at the end of the day, as I said, as a CEO, you've got to take accountability for it.
Well, you've got to realise the timing around this too. He came into the job, Mestrov, in 2022, came from Greyhound Racing New South Wales, had made them quite profitable, saw them through some turbulent times. He came in at Manly on the back of the Pride jersey drama. So he had to navigate that, but he's also known as the guy who was in charge when they got rid of Des Hasler, when they've basically rid the Seagulls of any essence of the Fultons, right?
Yep.
Scott, Christy Fulton no longer there, so a lot of turmoil, a lot of change at that club.
Well, my understanding was that pretty much there was a clean out of anyone that had some kind of power before he arrived. That's my understanding. Again, speculation. So that's why I thought when you do that, usually you've got enough sway to kind of like move through it. Is that your understanding of it?
Yeah, well, that was it. Well, he came in with an edict, right? Because when he first sat down to start, because he made these moves pretty soon after he started. So that was cutting a sway through that. And, you know, Scott Fulton obviously went off to the Tigers after that and took the Fanu brothers with him over there. So there was, you kind of thought they had the mandate to turn the club around and go forward. So lack of detail at the moment, because this has really come out of the blue about whether he was pushed or did he walk. But one of these things where you mutually agree to part ways when the job isn't done, sort of
Usually
says,
club lean.
says
Interesting.
that something's happening. And further to this, right, because there's also been that talk around the ownership with, you know, obviously Scott Penn owns the club, and but there has been whispers about, we did a yarn a couple of years ago around a bloke by the name of Blake Canaveau, who I've got to be careful here because he had not an official role with the Knights, but he was an advisor to Phil Gardner, the CEO at the Knights, and obviously he's big in the mining industry up there. He's been sniffing around, from what I'm led to believe, the Seagulls, and with it maybe
Indication of a purchase potentially.
Yeah, to maybe come in at some point to maybe buy in there. So there could be a bit of, I don't know if there's a bit of movement going there, but there's certainly a bit of uncertainty around the Seagulls because DC out the door, Tommy Turbo 1-year extension, which, you know, that wasn't club led. They've turned around after the club gave a reduced offer. They went back with the 1-year extension.
Oh, so it's a Tommy-led one.
Yeah,
interesting.
so this was a Tommy.
So he's going to back himself pretty much.
Yeah, so
wow.
But there's a lot to do at Manly, isn't there? Because they've got some really good talent there, but they've got some question marks over that roster. I think, you know, you talk to anyone who wants to maybe roll through outside of Hamoli, look at their forward rotation a little bit. They've got Kobe Hetherington on a 4-year deal from next season.
Jeez,
so
that's a long deal.
That's
These 4 and 5 year deals are getting thrown around willy nilly these days. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I like your theory about potential purchase because that would make a lot of sense in this. If you're going to purchase something, usually it doesn't matter how the old CEO goes. You get your own people in there, so that would probably reflect better on Mestrov if that is the case. Because again, it just feels like they're in the middle of his vision, I guess, and it's just boom. And again, you may not agree or agree with the vision, but it definitely has come out of the blue. Like really, because there's been a lot of changes, even roster-wise, just recently under him. I'd be super interested to see where he's landed because his resume is not pretty impressive. It's impressive, Mestrov's resume. So do you reckon he'll stay in rugby league with your?
I don't know. This will be interesting to see, right? Because obviously he has that experience with the Greyhound Racing New South Wales, so there'd be a bit of, you know, obviously that would come with some regulatory history with going through governments and that kind of thing. So potentially, and I think we've said about this before with expansion, the concern hasn't really been about the playing talent needed to field 18 or 19 teams. It's been footy now and good operators. So, which I find, again, this has come out of the blue. So it's interesting with Messi because, you know, he obviously came in with what he wanted to do at Manly and he'd done it, you know, because Manly hadn't been a top 4 team who were challenging for titles, right? So he was going in there to try and turn this around and make sure that they were going on the path that they need to get to.
Could it be connected to, because there were whispers that Abdo was potentially looking at jobs in the city, like other jobs. Have you heard those rumours? So
the Abdo situation was that apparently he was approached by another organisation about whether he would be interested, and so he actually had a meeting, and all above board, because if someone wants to come and buy you a coffee and have a meeting, then go for it. But yeah, he's since said that he's quite happy at the NRL. I mean, they've got a lot on their plate, right? And look, you look back, and for any of the criticism around Andrew Abdo or Peter V'landys and the NRL, have a look at where they are now as to where they were pre-COVID.
Oh, mate.
When the place shut down, league almost could have gone broke, and they set the May 28 date of relaunch, and everyone laughed and said, there's no way in the world. And how big do you think you are that you could get yourself back up and running by this date? They did it, and criticism around the broadcast rights deal, because it didn't match the AFL's. I think this time around you're going to see an even bigger one there. So Las Vegas expansion. There's been so much leagues and buying up properties, buying up portfolio with the Beatson Hotel, which formerly Gambaros. So acquiring assets to get themselves where they need to be. So. It's a tough job if you're Andrew Abdo. So
So could it be, because there were whispers that Mestrov, at least articles about potential him moving, like wanting to be a CEO of the NRL. Could that be a potential? Like it's a mutual agreement because he's going to a job that he prefers potentially?
Yeah, potentially. I haven't heard anything around movement around Abdo though, so I don't know if he'd be, I don't think the job's done for him either at the moment. So
and surely, with where the game is at and how much they've got to sort out because they've put so much on their plate in a good way, if you're the NRL, you're almost saying, mate, whatever you want to keep you at least for the next 12 months so that we can get this done and then we'll bring someone else. And again, I'm not putting Mestrov forward for that role. I'm just trying to work out the mutual agreement whilst he's in the middle of his own journey as a club CEO.
Well, and look, there's so many different ways to pull this because you look at the NRL with that. Obviously, Peter V'landys is in charge of two pretty big organisations, Racing New South Wales and the RL Commission. So, he's done an amazing job to balance them both, and be so hands-on in both. So, I mean, I know he'd done a lot of the hard work in racing before he took on the job with the NRL because, he really led the way through the racefields legislation and, and getting, the prize money to where it is at the moment and getting New South Wales racing in such a good spot. So there has been talk about whether when he eventually wants to step down as ARL chairman, would they look at an executive chairmanship role or how would they keep him in rugby league because he's so good for the game and obviously loves rugby league, coming from growing up in Wollongong there and being a leaguey at heart, and how would that sit with where would that put Abdo in that situation? But that's all sort of navel gazing because nothing's really been determined. But
so is Mestrov, I'm sorry if you said this, is he effective immediately or at the end of this year?
I'd say the announcement will come this week that I think there'll be either a transition process or he'll be effectively out sooner rather than later. So,
geez, any question, boys? Any questions on it all?
Just interesting, kind of what a strange year it's been for them. Bookended by these two. Kind of
so much going on at a club that so much going on. Anything, mate?
Nah, it just kind of all makes sense, doesn't it? When you kind of lay everything out, it's a roster that on paper people have expected to achieve for so long, but for some reason it just hasn't quite happened over the last couple of seasons. And when you lay out that timeline that you just did there, really from the Pride jersey through to where we are now and all these storylines, it's like they almost can't get out of the way of themselves. So it'll be interesting to see if this change does occur, how that reflects in results in the years to come.
And I do think, and I get Manly fans who are being a bit facetious when they do it. They're like, oh, we're used to this. This is the way Manly's always been. And sometimes, and I know most people are joking when they say that, but at the same time, I do feel there are some Manly fans that just go, no, this is the way it's always been. It's like, well, imagine what it would be like if it wasn't like this. Anyway, that's brought to you by Code Sports. Go to codesports.com.au/bloke to get your discount. But before I let you go, Mobsy, we've got a bone to pick. I don't know who to pick it with. But I'm grumpy. I need my frown turned upside down. It can get turned down by this, but you can also turn it upside down as well, mate. Go to grumpycoffee.com.au. We've got beans, we've got whole beans, we've got pods. Go there. The best coffee in all the land, guys. And also, did you know that the Grumpy Coffee is a plus 85 cupping range? It's considered to be one of in the excellent range for a blend. The reason it's so high is because we specifically source good quality Arabica beans for the blends. So it's quality premium coffee. But I'll tell you what's making me grumpy. Okay. So we always talk about, we need to send the boys astray over to England because we've got to keep the game alive and got to keep England alive and we're trying to go international. There's always talk about it. Then we send Reece Walsh, who in my opinion is probably, right now at least, the most marketable player in the game's history. That's how marketable he is with the run he's on right now. I haven't seen him on any TV over there, any podcast, and literally nothing over in England Meanwhile, when we go to Vegas, we've got players that are nowhere near the level of Reece Walsh on TV and that. And I just think it's a crazy, crazy missed opportunity to have Reece Walsh. And I know we've got to go over there and win games or whatever. I get it. But like we've got Dylan Edwards in the roster. That's how deep our roster is. We've got Dylan Edwards sitting there ready to go. Not to say that he would get in the side, but I'm just saying, I'm sure we could win with Walshy playing just solidly if all these distractions were too much. Anyway, with that out of the way, what is going on over there that we haven't seen Reece Walsh use to promote the game in England?
Yeah, you've really pulled at a string here because we love Reece Walsh. Look at his last month. Grand final, Clive Churchill medal, drinking out of a toilet bowl.
Great stuff.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys.
I love how that's the third thing that just gets thrown in there.
He's added 100,000 social media followers since grand final day.
Wow.
This guy is just, you want to grow the game, you put a rocket on Reece Walsh's back and just ride it with him, right? And man of the match performance in Wembley, and he's spoken at the post-match press conference. But outside of that, we haven't heard from him. Now, Kangaroos management have wanted to keep Reece under wraps over there because trying to manage him while they're over there because, I don't know. It's, you know what I equate it to? So, just for example, think that Kate Campbell swims at the Olympics, misses goal by 0.01 of a second, and 4 years' worth of effort, she finishes second. And straight after it, you walk under and you have a microphone stuck under your nose and you're asked questions. And Reece Walsh is riding, as I said, grand final win, Clive Churchill medal, man of the match performance at Wembley, and they want to keep him under wraps from promoting him to the media. So there's 4 Aussie journalists over there, Dean Ritchie from Code Sports, Danny Weidler, Michael Shamus, and the lovely Julissa Rapp.
Just for the audience too, because I wasn't aware of this at the time because you just don't think about it. But you guys spend a lot of money of your own budgets to send journos over there. The NRL doesn't pay for these journalists to be there.
No, we've paid for Bulldog to be over there. And to put this in perspective, Bulldog has had more quotes from John Bon Jovi than Reece Walsh since he's been over there. If that puts things into perspective for you.
You know what I don't get as well, not giving access? He just had I think the greatest grand final performance we've ever seen, the greatest final series we've ever seen after one of the biggest stories this year, which was drinking toilet water. So clearly he can cop all the headlines, all the noise. It's right there in front of you. Matter of fact, I kind of think he thrives under it. I think he actually enjoys the chaos a little bit. And on top of all that, not only is he good looking, he gives good interviews that are quite quirky and different. It is so bizarre to me that we aren't, I don't want just mainstream media, put him on some of the biggest podcasts over there. There are so many YouTube podcasts over there that if we reached out to the right people, we could have him on and become cool or whatever. And I don't know what they say, little some shit these days. I don't know what they say these days. 6'7" these days. That means anything. Whatever it is, the younger generation would be frothing to see him on their favourite content creator on YouTube that's from England. And also, it's in the UK too, so you could travel anywhere. I think it is I reckon if there was some study that went into it, we've cost the game $2 or $3 million, maybe more, by not using him on platforms.
Can I juxtapose this for you, Kempy? So, local media as well, same deal. They've kept him away from local media. He hasn't been doing sit-downs like this over there. At the same time, Peter V'landys and Andrew Abda are over meeting with Super League bosses about potentially investing in the Super League to buy it, to get it up and running properly, to get the corporate governance going right, to make sure we get a good TV deal, to resuscitate Northern Hemisphere Rugby League to a level where we see with Pacific nations. Mm-hmm. And, hey, there's a kind of a guy that could maybe sell the dream of rugby league to you. It's Reece Walsh. Shutters go down.
It's bizarre.
Go figure it out.
There are so many big English podcasts that he could go on that would... they're desperate for guests. It's so, once you've been in a podcast for so many years, getting guests is hard because you've already interviewed everyone. And so they would be okay with getting this young, brash Aussie guy that plays this sport in Australia that not a lot of people know about over in England. I just think, for all the good the game has done, we're still so far... our thought process is still so old school. Listen, I'm fully on board with coaches going no, we're not going to do a documentary because we don't want any videos. I think we do have to change, as a game, but I can respect and understand it. We don't want videos in the changing rooms and all that kind of stuff because I'm trying to win matches. But in regards to essentially putting a media ban on Reece Walsh when he's in England, is actually insane. When there's so much downtime, these boys aren't over there doing preseasons. Let's just put it that way. They're probably training 3 times a week, and then that's it. Like they do it. Like they've got 3 games over there. They're there for 4 weeks. How much video session do you reckon they're doing? Like, what are we talking? They got so much spare time. I just think it's insane that we've missed this crazy opportunity for one of the most marketable players in the game's history, and he hasn't been on a single media platform essentially over there. I know he's done the post matches. I get all that. But come on, man. Like, what are we doing?
But as league fans as well, you look at this Kangaroos team, there's a good mix of blues and maroons in there. And from all reports, Reece Walsh is having a really good time picking the brain of Nathan Cleary and Mitchell Moses, guys from New South Wales with whom he hasn't had much of an experience with before. So this guy's over there learning, developing his game, taking advantage of this situation, which is amazing. And the other thing is, think back to that finals game a few weeks ago against the Raiders and the headbutt with Hudson Young.
Yeah.
Apparently those two getting on like a house on fire.
Yeah, of course.
Tell us about it. I'd love to hear this story.
Yeah. And Hutto is a great chat as well. He's a legend of, like, you know what's weird? He's the only player in the NRL that everyone thinks is a pommy. Because I thought he was a pommy.
I did too.
Like, I don't know. It's just like everyone thinks he's a pommy. I thought he was a pommy. Anyway, yeah, so I was just super interested. Like, why I want it. He should be on all the big podcasts that are like soccer podcasts, like anything that he can do. I remember recently there was a league coach or something that went on a union podcast over there to promote the game. And I'm sitting here going, imagine some of these young streamers or whatever, if he could get connections with young streamers over there and just walk around with them, just whatever it is, it blows my mind. I think we're so far behind. Especially, listen, I understand if you've got like an old school leaguey that goes over there and he's a star, like, I don't know, Isaiah Yeo or something. Am I going to put Isaiah Yeo on a stream or whatever? No, that's not his environment. Reece Walsh is young, brash, good looking, different, appeals to like so many different demographics, and he hasn't been used in the slightest. And what's crazy about the whole thing as well, it's not just not the game that loses money, it's Reece Walsh that loses the money. If the rugby league uses their connections to get him in certain rooms or whatever, then the more money he earns off field, the less chance he gets stolen by rugby. There's so many reasons why you try to make his profile as big as possible. Blows my mind. I think I think he has 1.5 to 2 million followers on social media. On TikTok, he is like huge, like absolutely huge. And another thing as well is like he's got an incredible story, like talking about, you know, basically growing up with a single father. He had a child while he was young, seeing the mental struggle of like not wanting to repeat what happened with his growing. Like, think about how many, young girls would love the story of him taking care of his daughter. Like, if he was on the right podcast. Anyway, sorry guys, I had to rant for a bit. I'm grumpy. You can tell I'm grumpy. I'm grumpy today, so I apologise for that. I'm going to have a coffee later. I had one earlier. I'm going to have one later. We'll turn the frown upside down. Anything else on that, mate?
No, that's basically. We'll try our very best this week to see if we can't get a sit down with him for you to make you less grumpy.
Yeah, surely.
Also, I'm also a coffee drinker, by the way. I've just
quietly. Said that pretty loudly, actually. So about 100,000 people know that.
Coffee.com.au, mate.
You know what's funny is like sometimes people will message and be like, they'll ask a question that they're hoping for like a discount on something.
Oh, those ones.
You know those ones? And I'm just like, bruh.
Hey, mate,
here's
never
the
tried
website.
it, but I'm really keen.
Yeah, and you're just like, brother, come on, man. I'm trying to run a business here. Would you go into Macca's and ask for something free? No, you wouldn't. Okay. Thanks so much, Mobsy. Really do appreciate it, mate. Next week, unless something big happens, I'd love to hear about what's going on at the Titans. Matty John's obviously purchasing a stake in it. You've got a really good insight on that. There'll be an article on the website on it, I'm assuming?
Yes, okay. Certainly is.
So go check that out for sure. Mate, while I got you. The Titans. So Matty Johns reportedly purchasing a minor stake in the club. Huge news. Not only that, Politis has purchased the Caxton for 50 milli, which is crazy. But I wanted to talk more about the Titans. How has this come about? Now, I know Matty is friends with the Frizzels and he has a lot of respect for what they've done and achieved in business. I know he has a soft spot for the Titans, but to actually have a minor stake, and I think that, outside looking in, we sit there and go, oh yeah, it's just a minor stake. But Matty Johns is putting his name to the Titans now. So when they go poorly, it gets reflected on him. It's a big deal. How did this all come about, mate?
Well, I'm looking forward to Sunday night with Matty Johns to see whether he can stay objective.
Oh, there's the challenge.
How the Titans go. So,
okay.
I'll try to keep him honest, Mobsy.
Yeah, I like it. So this is interesting, right? Because the Frizzels have obviously made a decision because they took over sole ownership recently, but now divvying out some shares here and there. So can also tell you that Gordon Tallis the great Gordy, is going in with Matty Johns on this as well. Headley Thomas, who is Rebecca Frizzell's brother. Now, Headley is an investigative journalist for The Australian. Now, he's famous for the Teacher's Pet podcast. So he did such a good job that made police reinvestigate the 1982 disappearance of Lynette Dawson, which led to the conviction of her husband, former teacher Chris Dawson, for her murder. So Headley's in on that as well. A couple other names I can give you. Billy Cross, Manpower, the brains behind Manpower.
No way.
Yeah, he's in on the Titans as well.
Okay.
And Michael
Hopefully
and
they can get a bit of
Jody
Manpower going.
Atkins, who are sort of business barons there on the Gold Coast. I think they own a couple of McDonald's up there and whatever. So there's there's a bit of star power coming, bit of manpower, bit of star power coming in there. So,
I like that. That's why you're a journo, mate. Putting words together really well today.
Yeah, pity. There's no other way. There's no other form of employment that I could ever do that earn me a living. This is it.
Being from the Gold Coast myself, a little bit surprised I didn't get a call, but it's all right. Don't worry about it.
We can make a call through.
That would be weird though. Like, would you being a proud Tigers fan? Would you ever, if someone said, "Oh, here's some shares in a different club or the competitor," would you take them?
No.
Be weird, eh?
I've got unfinished business at the Tigers first.
What about if you Trojan horsed that club?
Yeah, that could be nice.
Kiwis can't trust them, bro.
Maybe the Roosters or someone who have just pillaged our juniors for
Oh,
years.
bit of bitters
That'd be
there.
nice.
Send Teddy back.
Yeah. I tried to ask him at there. He didn't seem that interested, to be honest. But
Wonder why? Seriously?
yeah, maybe something like that. Maybe.
Okay.
But no, I think I'm just all in on the Tigers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So with the Titans now, do you know? And this is you probably will never know this. Did he actually buy them, or were they given to him? Because what I find interesting, if I'm trying to run a business, especially the Gold Coast Titans, where their reputation isn't bad in the sense that they are a bad people or whatever. They're actually known as quite good people at the Gold Coast, and a quite good group of lads to work with, all that kind of stuff. But in regards to ruthless sporting organisation, their reputation is probably as bad as it's been in a long time. If I'm sitting there, I'm going, okay, I need some big names to start getting some respect across the board. And so I'd almost be giving shares to big names to start getting some respect, because of Matty Johns, when I'm a player now, and I know Matty Johns is an owner of the club, I am much more likely to go to that club than if he is not. Is there any info on that, or not? It's all...
Well, I can't speak to the financials around it, but that kind of makes sense to me. But when you look at the Gold Coast, we spoke about this last week, right? This is the club that almost upset their new incoming coach.
Oh my God, bro!
Josh Hannay by their chase or their pursuit or interest in Craig Bellamy. So, but what they've done here on two fronts. The first one is on the football front is with Gordy and Matty Johns there. I know their TV personalities and everything else. Smart football IQs, these guys. So they're going to bring footy now to that club. Scott Sattler there, Anthony LaFranchi. So Josh Hannay with what he wants to do. If I'm a Titans fan and seeing these moves, I'm excited.
Absolutely.
On the other side
I think
of
about
things,
10 of them all up. We'll be excited.
Yeah.
That was a joke, sorry.
Oh.
Oh, come on, man. It was a joke. It was a joke. We won a premiership. I get to talk shit for a year, right?
Yeah.
The Atkins, Billy Cross, you're getting business people in there. So you're looking, okay, what are we going to do with... Because it's not just rugby league, but Gold Coast has been a really tough sell for a number of sporting organisations. You probably grew up supporting the Gold Coast Rollers, Andre Lafleur.
Yeah, of course.
Back in the 90s, those kind of things.
Did I go up? No, I didn't. Yes, Manchester United was my team growing up. I did not watch the Gold Coast Rollers, unfortunately. But it is, honestly, it is a sporting organisation black hole.
It is so tough, isn't it?
They've literally... Gold Coast has never won a professional league in the history of Gold Coast.
I mean, Clive Palmer at the Gold Coast United and...
Bring him back.
The AFL continue to plough money into the Suns, who are finally, making finals. But the NRL, the Titans do not have the same sort of financial support from the NRL. They have, they get an annual grant. But so if I'm the Titans, it's up to you to clean up your own backyard and get this going. So from that point of view, I'm excited by it. And even hearing... Hannay is the first few weeks officially in the role of what he wants to do, and there's been such state of flux with that roster of the Titans of who's going to play where. You got 3 fullbacks, you got 3 hookers. What are you going to do? You got Tino Fa'asuamaleaui doing the grunt work of when he should be your superstar doing everything else. So with Hannay wanting to put Keanu Kenny at 1 and thinking Brimson can be 6 and Campbell can be my 7, and this is where we're going to build around. I like the idea of I'm going to make this work, and Josh has obviously worked with Brimo around Origin and things like that, so he knows He knows the team that is there and what he wants to build. So I like it. I like it for the Gold Coast, who, you know, it'd be so good if they're successful. You know, it'd be so good if they can. And it's obviously made even harder for them with the Dolphins coming in. Southeast Queensland's harder to manage. The Broncos winning a premiership is just, I wouldn't say disastrous for them, but you've got to try and feed off that. You've got to try and feed off that to, you know, and you've got those great schools, Keebra Park and PBC. So there's such a good opportunity for them there to get things right. So hopefully with these people there that they can do it. But no, I'm a big fan. I think it's good.
If they can start winning, there's also such a good business opportunity because like you can almost be like the Miami Dolphins. Beautiful place to live. The stadium is the most underrated stadium I will die on that hill. Most underrated stadium in the country, right next to Robina. Like you could make it the coolest club in the NRL because Gold Coast already has this kind of identity of obviously you got the stereotypes of, you know, all the stereotypes we know, but also like it's a holiday destination. It could become a place that you come for holiday to watch the Titans. Like there's a lot to like about the Gold Coast. It's just I just think that what they're doing now is great outside of the Bellamy stuff. But it's just they got to get wins. That's the main thing. They just got to get wins. Seriously, that's winning fixes everything. It seriously does.
And that's what you saw with Hannay was speaking about that roster, and he says that the top half of the roster is not what he's worried about. He's worried about the depth. He's worried about those. And I think we've discussed this before around roster maintenance of clubs that, you know, if you don't get your bottom 5, your 26 to 30, if you don't get those guys, the right guys in at the right price, it skews the rest of your top 30. And footy managers will tell you this. So Hannay obviously knows that. He's been in a number of systems, right? You know, he's been at the Cowboys, he's been at the Sharks, he's learnt off Craig Fitzgibbon, Paul Green, Billy Slater, and Slater gives him a massive amount of credit for what the organisation of the Maroons, right? So, and watching him go from assistant coach mode to head coach mode is really interesting because there's a switch that flicks with him because he's quite a laid back character. Josh Hannay, he's good. He enjoys a beer occasionally. But when you put the responsibility of a club on his shoulders, because he's done the caretaker role a couple of times, right? In place of Paul Green and then John Morris down there at the Sharks. And when he goes into coach mode, you think, okay, wow, this is a guy that's got his head switched on. So, I like what it's going to do for him. So I think that, the sky's the limit there for the Titans if they get it right. And to your point before, when we did our poll with the RLPA and the players, the second best stadium to play at, other than your own, Seabus Super Stadium. They love it, the players.
Mate, it's Queensland, baby. It's Queensland. Listen, it's that simple. If the players have spoken, it's Queensland.
I set myself up for that.
Yeah, you did. You did. You said Suncorp. You said Seabus. Look, I can't. It's just facts. It's just facts. Just quickly as well, I just think they also need to recruit. I'm sure they used to go into a lot of recruitment pitches and say, mate, Gold Coast is a great place to live. They need to go on recruitment pitches going, oi, where you're living is irrelevant. You're here to work. I think that's a part of the reason. And Jack Johns actually spoke about this quite a while ago. How that may be why Melbourne do really well is because when you're going down there, it is purely for footy. Don't get me wrong, Melbourne's an okay city or whatever, but it's not the Gold Coast. I just get worried sometimes when people go to the Gold Coast, you get paid well, but there's a sense of, my lifestyle's really good. Like, yes, you need a happy player to be good, but you don't want the player going, I'm going to this club because my lifestyle's going to be good. You need him going, I'm going there to win prems. So I guess we'll see what happens, but I'm excited for the Titans. Look, yes, the Bellamy stuff happened. I'm not a fan of that, but it's happened. It's done. Move forward from it. Matty John's one of the best minds in rugby league. So anyway, thanks so much, Mobsy. Appreciate it, mate.
Cheers, boys.
Thank you. Boom. Alrighty, now it is time for the Hungriest Player of the Week, proudly brought to you by Menulog, guys. As always, a massive thank you to Menulog, the hungriest player. And, he might already have his foot in the shoe that is the golden boot. It is Dylan Brown. That is right. He was absolutely phenomenal on the weekend again. And, I know it's a long contract and I know there's all this glass half empty kind of stuff that we've spoken about before. But from just what you've seen as a Knights fan, surely you can't help but like, okay, there's something here. There's something going on. Here's our hungriest player, Brown, for $7 off sushi. And our local shout-out goes to Sushi Concept in Riversby, where the salmon sashimi is top-notch. But, mate, as a Kiwi, You know, Kiwis have always known how good Brown is, but just seeing him really hit his straps now. How are you feeling about Dylan Brown?
Oh, he's been exceptional, and I feel like he came into this competition probably with the least amount of expectation on him as a Kiwi fan, you know, because he's been so in and out of the Eels team this year. Maybe he wasn't feeling that way, but I'm sure personally he wanted to prove a massive point, and I feel like he's not overplaying his hand. He's just rolling off the back of fast play the balls from our dominant forward pack. He's feeding his edges at the right time. I feel like our outsides at the moment are so exciting to watch, and in part it's down to Dylan Brown and Kieran Foran in the halves, but Brown, when he's running the ball, he's just so potent, and the 2 tries yesterday were a great example of that.
It's going to be interesting, you know, obviously Foz's last year, and it's going to be like the Hughes Brown, if it can click, like, geez, that's a good combo. It really, really is. Mate, what do you think about Brown's performance on the weekend?
He's been fantastic across both the games so far, but on the weekend particularly, really took the game by the scruff of the neck, and obviously had the couple of tries, but just getting really involved, and you know, it's amazing to see what he can do off the back, as you mentioned, Searley, like a dominant forward pack. That'll be the challenge, obviously, going to the new club, the Knights. That's something they'll need to build and work on, but when he's got someone to work with there, no doubt that he's a talented player, and he's been fantastic across both games, and as you mentioned, probably in the box seat for the Golden Boot at the moment.
And I guess that's the only, you know, concerning thing is Brown's game relies on the forward pack winning the battle, because he's not, you know, a Cleary, or he's not a 7. I mean, I know they might be playing 7 at Knights, but he's not a 7 that can get you momentum off the back foot. All of his, you know, strong suits are, you know, defenders that are getting off their line late, or being a little bit lazy on the inside, or, you know, aren't winning the contact. So obviously, they need to fix that, but however, Brown has been absolutely outstanding. A massive thank you to Menulog. Use code Brown for $7 off sushi. Okay, let's get into the Kayo Can't Miss moment. Now, there's a can't miss moment, but I wanted to more talk about, I guess, the moments that Tonga have missed. So in the last 9 games, they've lost 8 and only won 1. So it hasn't been great, but the Kayo Can't Miss moment, in a positive sense, it was Leota's shot in Taumalolo. I mean, just... you don't see Taumalolo get stopped like that. And granted, did he get absolutely fed? No, not at all. It was the 2 Goliaths colliding together. But I just love that Leota's having these moments, because, you know, I know if you listen to this podcast, you probably love Leota, because I can't stop talking about the bloke. But this guy is so seriously underrated by the wider rugby league audience. And the fact that he's yelling and yahooing after trying to shot Jason Taumalolo, I just love the way he plays. It's so unselfish. He picks his moments so well in regards to defence and trying to shot blokes. Absolutely outstanding shot on Leota and Taumalolo.
Yeah, massively. And when you think about it too, like, Taumalolo's the guy who started this whole movement, right? And him coming back into the side this week actually really worried me. And in the opening exchanges, it looked like him and Adam Whanua-Blake in those first few sets were just going to run amok all day. I think Taumalolo had a couple massive carries, PCMs, and I was like, uh-oh, we're in for a battle here. So in the way Leota putting shots on Taumalolo, it's like a double blow, because I know, like, those Tongan players look to him as not just a player, but a leader too. And I think the significance of putting a shot on the guy who started this whole thing, it would have been like another, like, damn, you know, for Tonga's forward pack that was getting rolled through the middle.
It is interesting. Like, there's a lot of forwards that, you know, they'll be the big alpha dog against a team that might be not as good, or a forward pack that's a bit smaller. You're a different kind of beast if you're hunting Taumalolo. There's not many players that go hunting Taumalolo. And the Kiwi forward pack genuinely went hunting him and Adam Whanua-Blake, which is like, that's why, in my opinion, I think they're the best forward pack in the world. And I don't actually think it's even really a debate, to be honest. I think that forward pack is unbelievable.
I think there was a set yesterday off the back of the Kiwis scoring points where they rolled full length of the field down, trapped Tonga, held them to about 24 metres before they kicked. And it was the Kiwi middles going to work. It was Fish, it was Leota, it was Tapine, and then the camera pans to the bench, and warming up on the bench was Nafahu White and Aaron Clark, with Mr. Standing on Business himself, which is probably
on a Sunday too.
The sickest Instagram handle going round. Xavier Willison ready to get his boarding pass. And as a Kiwis fan, I was like, man, we are so spoiled. We've got 6 of the game's best middles, or right up there in terms of rankings, just all ready to roll on.
Yeah, mate, it's looking scary. If they can just complete high, it's going to be tough to go. But just quickly, Leota shot. You know what? I'll save the Tonga chat for the review, because we'll stay on the Leota and the Kiwi forward pack. Thought on Leota's shot and his kind of aggressive hunting of the opposition.
Yeah, definitely, as we spoke about in the green room, had his grumpy coffee before he went out there, because after he got it, like, just to stop him, the amount of force involved to kind of stop a guy
That's a
that
car
size.
crash.
Yeah, it is, legit. But then he was up in his face, like kept chasing him. Kind of fully wrap him up and get him, but was hooting and hollering. He's such a dominant kind of player, and it's been great to see him and Fish recombine after, obviously had the 4 prems at the Panthers, and they obviously went their own separate ways in clubland, but to have them both back together, they love playing together, you can tell. He just goes to another level, and, again, we were talking about it before we came in, but he seems like such a calm, chilled guy, and they're the ones that make you worry more, because when they get that kind of white line fever, and it almost like comes out of nowhere, this dog they got in him, a real handful to deal with.
He honestly might have multiple dogs. Multiple dogs inside him.
Who let the dogs out?
Seriously. What
Baha men.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah.
What a tune that was.
Don't worry about the Bash Brothers, the Baha men.
Mate, we should rebrand them.
The Baha Bros.
Yeah, the Baha Bros. There we go.
I like that. The Baha Bros, that's the new name. I will say their ability to work off each other, getting dropped off, punching in, and just finding their front. There's such good proof that not every front rower needs to have these crazy stats each week. Their job is very, very specific. They're on the field for about 25 minutes each stint, and they're just momentum. They are just pure momentum. So, the Kayo Can't Miss moment, it is the Kiwi forward pack. It's looking, and we haven't even really spoken that much about Tarpiner, he was another guy that literally any big game against any of the biggest forwards in the comp, he hunts them. It's just been, White came on and was destructing the opposition. So that's our Kayo Can't Miss moment, guys. And we've got so much going on at Kayo. Watch every game live on Kayo. Can the Aussies go 3-0 up in the Ashes? And the summer of cricket continues as Australia face India in an unmissable T20 event, or series, sorry. And the only place to watch every T20 series match is Fox Cricket, available on Kayo Sports. And F1 heads to Brazil for a crucial weekend in the championship battle with just 1 point separating Oscar and Lando. Watch the Brazilian Grand Prix exclusively live on Fox Sports, including with Kayo. Okay. Oh, your mic just moved. You can move it around, but just keep it close to your mouth. All good. And we're going to get to it in the review, but just quickly, service of the week. It's brought to you by Aspley Mazda, and it is Kinney's Performance and Try, but not the way you would think. Okay, because currently they are doing a massive sale for bloke community members on used cars. They've got over 100 in stock, and their ability to make sure those cars are good to go. They do a 120-point check on all cars, and they come with a 12-month warranty, and we offer a 15% servicing for life on the car. So used car, Supercenter Aspley Mazda, focused on used cars, over 100 in stock, all makes, all models, and all of them qualify for a special bloke pricing. Just need to DM Lukey LDC_01 to get the deal. And the reason why he is Service of the Week today, is because he had an incredibly crazy injury this year. And the service the physio's done on him to get him back to where he is. I've tied it all together. It's all been tied together like a nice little bow. It has been unbelievable. So that's why Kinney is our Service of the Week brought to you by Aspley Mazda. We'll get into it more during the... Look, it's a bit of a reach, okay, guys? I'm just doing my best.
I see what
you see where I'm trying to get there? I'm just trying to bring it all together. So I'll get into that more during the review. Let's get into the Kangaroos beating the England side, though. Kangaroos beat England 14-4. Look, very gallant effort from England. So I don't want to disrespect their effort because it was Australia also that played poorly, but very poor game to watch. So super tough, and those games are sometimes, they can be a bit boring, but just the penalty count and blokes getting sent 10 in the bin. Like in an Ashes game between Australia and England, blokes are getting 10 in the bin for pulling other blokes out of a little bit of a push and shove. What are we doing? Bro, we're not reffing the NRL that is every week. They've got 8 games. This is a once in... What is the last time we played them in the Ashes?
2003.
2003. And you've got Dom Young and Tino, guys that would have got into the fireworks. Like last week, Stefano's head nearly came off his body. And he didn't even get 10 in the bin. And also the NRL just fined Molo. And then Tino and Dom Young get 10 in the bin for pulling blokes off a little bit of a push and shove. 15 penalties, I think, against Australia, 9 against... It was a tough watch. It was a tough watch. Anyway, I'll speak about England first. I'm actually really happy with England's performance. And I'm not saying this in a condescending way at all. But like, all you can ask is whenever I see a team that's struggling for form or whatever, I just want them to play whatever their footy is. Play English style of footy, or play Warriors footy, or Broncos footy, or Penrith footy. And I felt like they played England footy, which was get down and dirty, get some elbows in there, get some headbutts in there. I'm okay with that. Win and upset the Australians however you can. And I thought they did that really, really well. And I think the only difference was they just lacked the cream of the crop to get them points. And so how can you be too angry at this England side when they I'm not saying they played the best they could play, but if they had players that were of the tier that Australia had, they probably get close to winning the game. For example, really, it was a Munster magic. Typical Munster, crazy, weird try, but he made it. Really, it was just that top tier that got us the points. So I'm actually happy with the way England played. I thought they went in with the right intent, which was to upset and niggle and do all that good stuff. I thought that the forwards definitely heard all the negative chat from last week. They were tough. They were gritty. They were in your face. They just lacked some talent in regards to getting points, but that's understandable because this England side does not have anywhere near the resources or players. So I was actually pretty happy with the England performance. Yes, it wasn't their best, but at the same time, they played, to a degree, English footy.
Yeah, this was the performance I expected from them in week one, right? While there may be a lack of talent one-on-one, like individually, man for man, I thought they were just going to come out there, muddy the waters, try drag the Kangaroos into a real arm wrestle. And they've got some forwards that can do that, right? And I think that was on display in this game. I didn't mind their kicking game as well, in particular in the first half, kept them guessing, a couple kicks early, things like that to apply pressure. But it was when they got down into the Kangaroos' red zone, right? That's just where that talent difference really is shown. I thought whenever they shift the ball, they were so deep, and it just allowed the Kangaroos to just push off in defence. They weren't engaging defenders. So, yeah, clearly missing a bit of strike out there, but this was the performance I expected in game one that I was then going to hope they would build off in game 2 and 3 and kind of iron out some of those kinks. So the fact it came in game 2, not ideal, but as a neutral fan, I've got to say both these games have been pretty tough to watch.
Yuck.
Yeah.
And it's, I know they're trying as hard as they can, but I just even like the lines on the field, bro, we don't have lines on the field. Like what? Surely that's not a resource thing. Like tell me there's a reason why there was no lines.
I would have thought that might have been a bare minimum thing. Call me picky, but we're playing a game of rugby league here.
Mate. Like, was there some reason where the stadium was like, we can't put the lines on there because we've got this other event later in the week?
It made it look like a trial game, right? Like, you could still see the football and the rugby union markings on the field. So it was confusing as a fan even. Like, can you kick a 40-20 when there's no 40 and there's no 20?
I did think the Kangaroos set up pretty well for their corners, though, which was good. So that was a nice positive out of it. But, yeah, honestly, I think the reason was, I think, Everton are back there next week, whatever, playing a game. But, honestly, surely you would have thought they'd spend that much money on it. It happens once every 22 years. At least you can get the correct markings on the field.
But, okay, if they can't put the marks on the field, play it somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, it's a great stadium that, as a player, you dream to play in or whatever, but if you can't put lines on the field, you've got to play someone else. Surely, that's a key part of rugby league as a player, that the lines are done. That was embarrassing, I've got to be honest. It was genuinely, we truly looked like a second-rate sport that's like, yes, sir, thank you so much for using your stadium. We really do appreciate it. We'll just take whatever you want. Anyway, so there's that.
Also, post to post, they were saying in commentary 94 metres rather than 100. So
that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
So anyway, I just think if they can't actually put on the bare minimum of what a rugby league field is, we have to go somewhere else. Surely there's other stadiums that we could, fill out and look, maybe it was planned really late. I don't know, but anyway, next time hopefully.
22 years time, we'll hopefully they'll have some.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they if they give them 22 years notice, they'll be able to
the 2047 series will be look very different.
Now I will say, I understand from a Super League fan's point of perspective or an England fan's point, there were players that a lot of people felt in the halves should have been there. I think it was Harry Smith or something like that. That's hard for me to comment on because it's hard for me to comment on Super League player versus Super League player who should get selected. I can comment on NRL player versus Super League player who should get selected because the standard's so different. So unless you win a Man of Steel and you're the best in the comp, you really probably aren't comparable to NRL players. Mostly. I know it's not a one and all rule. So it's hard for me to comment on whether selection was done right. I probably would say they got it wrong with how poor they looked in good ball. But yeah, I can't really mention it because it's a league that I don't watch. Whereas like the reason why I can have a bearing on commenting on NRL versus Super League is some of our players that couldn't get contracts win your Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And that's why I can comment, because unless there is a player that wins a Man of Steel in that position, I go, oh, okay, maybe, like for example, let's say Wellesby had won the Man of Steel that year and it was against Brimo, then I'll go, okay, maybe it is a comparable kind of, but you know. Anyway, so that's kind of why I can't comment on it. But do you know a little bit more about Super League than I do? Or?
Not so much.
Yeah.
No, I'd be really interested in diving more into it if the NRL do, in fact, make that
Right,
move over there, because then there's a bit of skin in the game for us fans, isn't there? But not a whole lot. Much like you, I just keep track of ex-NRL players and how they're going over there.
I think it was Harry Smith or something on the bench that came on late that was quite good. I'll have to check on that. So, as I said, it's very hard for me to comment. I do know there are a lot of fans, though, that feel that some of the selections were really poor. There was almost a bit of loyalty to, I guess, players that had done it before or whatever. I'm just trying to find the bench guy that came on.
Mikey Lewis, is that he came on?
Yeah, maybe
towards
Mikey Lewis. Apparently, maybe he should have been brought on earlier. And so Harry Smith did start. And I think there was a guy that won their Man of Steel this year that didn't get selected, I think.
Yeah, there's been a lot of controversy,
Yeah.
hasn't there,
Yeah.
over coaching selections and things like that, which is never good going into a series against the best side in the world.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I just think that if it is true that the coach was selecting players because of what they've done before and they've earned that kind of, I guess, currency as a player, like you are not a top tier nation to be able to do that. Like if you're Australia, maybe you can go, this guy's done it before. We won the World Cup with this roster, maybe. But when you got bounced out of a World Cup and, you beat Samoa and Tonga, but like it's over in England. Like it's not really the best measuring stick. Like I just don't think I don't think that they've achieved enough to suggest that players keep the jersey year on year. Yeah. Like beating Samoa and Tonga in a 1 or 3 game series is not enough to suggest that you get to keep that jersey next time, especially when you're going up against Australia or. So anyway, there's that. Okay, in regards to, I really like the look of Morgan Knowles once again. I really like the look of him. I thought Morgan Smithies was good when he was a part of it as well.
Yeah, agreed.
Can't believe he didn't play game 1 still.
Oh, bro, don't get me started on it. Like seriously, like I've already said it all, but honestly, a joke that a bloke that was in the best forward pack in the comp each week. He would stay in that starting side at 13 most weeks, and then towards the end, I think he was on the bench. Is just like it's beyond me. And also like the Nicholson. So there's been a lot of England fans. We spoke about this on Friday. So there's been a lot of England fans that have come out and said, no, Nicholson said that because he hadn't played that much game, his fitness was an issue. Now I've read the quote, and look, this is me just having an opinion that I'm not saying that what they said isn't true, but I struggle to connect the dots. So basically, Nicholson said, I rang the coach to see where I was at. And then I was convinced or we mutually agreed that I wasn't fit enough to or something along those lines. So, he said something like it was hard to swallow, but he made me realise that I was injured or whatever and I wasn't fit enough. But how are you fit enough to be selected for an NRL finals game, but then 7 weeks later you're not fit enough to be picked on the England bench? Yeah. How does that make sense?
Yeah.
It sounds like you've been talked
into thinking
being convinced.
I'm not going to pick you because, mate, you haven't played that much footy. Oh, you know what, mate? Yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah. Like it's like, bro, if you can get picked for the Raiders as 18th man in week 1 and then 18th man, but then you play week 2, pretty sure 7 weeks later you can be fit enough to come off the bench for England. Yeah. And also, what are we talking about here? We're talking about a professional athlete. Like, get fit.
Yeah.
Like, what?
It's like doing your job, right?
Yeah, like,
I find it hard to believe.
Yeah, off the bench, you're telling me he couldn't play 10 minutes or 20 minutes off the bench.
Yeah.
Like, he's a professional athlete that came into the NRL and absolutely ripped it. Like, so much so that when he came in, before he got injured, it was him and Hudson Young that were absolutely in the starting side for the Raiders, the best forward pack in the comp. It doesn't make any sense to me how he couldn't be fit enough. Like, 10 off you can't play 10 off like Ben. I get it maybe if you're a rookie. This guy's been around for quite a while now. Yeah. Anyway, so that aside, I'm sorry for being too negative English, but that's just my thoughts on it. I saw last week some people saying Kai Pearce-Paul wasn't great. I thought he was okay in both games.
Yeah. I thought he was pretty good in this game.
Yeah, numbers weren't great in game 1, but just like numbers aren't always everything.
But he still had 4 or 5 offloads. He was trying stuff.
Heaps of offloads. He just looked threatening when he had the ball. And I again thought he was probably one of their better players in this game too.
Defensively, some big shots.
Yes.
Like, I noticed him on defensive fair bit.
Who did he whack on that drop-off? It wasn't Angus Crichton, was it? He absolutely nailed someone. Actually, I'll have to go on
He was
that.
involved in all the stinks as well. He was getting
Which
in
is
there.
great stuff.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
And he's that player that could create something for them on attack, right? Because they don't have a lot of players that can get their arm free or play that second phase footy.
Yeah.
You're right. It's exactly what they need. It's a bit of flair.
Just some weapons. They don't have many. Like that's why they brought Brimson in. But Kai Pearce-Paul, definitely one of those guys. Is a handful.
Mate, Callum Watkins, I like the look of him. Now he's a bit older. Another guy, you look at, sometimes I see guys in the Super League, mate, I would love seeing you have come across here when you're 18, get you in a system. Because I thought Callum Watkins had some pretty good moments as well. I know he had a few errors, but the winger, Johnston, geez, he was hard to take down a few times. There was at the end of the game where, Reece Walsh kicked, it wasn't the end of the game. I think it was a different one where they kicked through, got out of his own in goal. I think it was a might have 10 to go or something. The game was on the line. I thought that was a really good play. I thought Brimo was solid. Did his job to a degree. Who stood out for you?
I like the first shift in particular of Mick Meakin, the middle forward.
Yep.
Again, just aggressive, and I thought in partnership with Knowles and Smithies and that, like that's England's best chance is to just drag it into a dogfight,
100%.
right? And use these bigger bodies that are aggressive, and they just love bringing up line speed and banging bodies.
And getting in pushes and shoves.
Yeah, exactly.
Elbow here and headbutt there. Because like the Aussies, they can go there if they want to, but they don't want to need to go there. They want to come to England, get the win, then get on the beers and enjoy their life.
Yeah.
That's kind of where they're at.
Yeah, bring the crowd into it if you're the English. Make it a bit of a cauldron where these Aussie players, it's something they haven't experienced before, right?
Yep.
So you've got to try and drag in all of those elements.
So I thought they were much better at this game than last game because you're right. Like you want to get it to a point where obviously you just want to tread the line. Like the last thing Australia wants to do, especially when you're the favourite by a mile, like just from my own experience as a footy player, like you go into these kind of games like I don't want to get injured, like I just want to get through it and move out because it's like yes, you're proud to play. Obviously, I haven't played for my country, but like it, respectfully, it's not as big of a deal to get a win as it is to England because they're the underdogs, and so I think a lot of these Aussies come here and they'll get in a dogfight if they have to, but because they're almost expected to win in their mind, there's less of an urgency to get into that gritty stuff. Whereas I think if you had an Australian side against, say, New Zealand or whatever, getting niggly, it's like, okay, let's do it. Like this is Australia versus England. So, New Zealand. So I thought that was a really good game plan from them. I'd be telling them absolutely to get in the niggle. Absolutely. And they did a really, especially in the first, and I agree with you, mate, first half was good. Because like when you look at these stats, like they won a lot of the stats. So more possession, they had more runs, they had more meters, less post contact, which shows you just that physicality that Australia just seems to have. Yeah. 2 line breaks to 1, which is solid. They actually had more tackle breaks than Australia, which is super, super interesting.
Completed higher?
Completed, pretty good, 76%. Average set distance, they were at, where is it? They're just below Australia, but not by much, 35.6 to 38.1, which is much better than last week. They won the kick return meters, which shows you the back three were doing a really, really good job. Average play the ball speed, it was better than Australia. However, still a relatively slowish game. So they had 3.69 and Australia had 3.85. But yeah, from the reffing perspective, what's funny is like, so the game starts and I see the normal ref that we have each week and I'm like, Aussie ref. And I'm thinking, not because I want the calls, just this is going to be reffed like an NRL game. So I'm thinking, it's familiar. He's going to ref it like an NRL game. And I'm thinking, you know what? we don't appreciate our refs. Like, we saw what happened last week with the reffing that. We don't appreciate the NRL refs. Yeah, we give them to him, when they make a make, but we need to appreciate them more. And then he started making some calls and I was like, oh, okay. Maybe I was right to think that we should, because some of those calls in an Ashes test, sending off Tino on that, I know I've already spoken about it, bro.
Well, like,
what are we doing?
When you're trying to create a rivalry and a narrative, because it's been 22 years since these two sides play, let the players create that rivalry and narratives themselves, not the media build up and things like that around it. Like, that was the perfect chance to just let a bit of push and shove go, if not encourage a little bit more, right? Yeah. Like, when you're looking for something to get people engaged in, that's the exact stuff that sells the next game.
Like, imagine if there was a stink there, and if there is a stink, you've obviously got to, tend the bin. But then all of a sudden, the crowd's in the game. Then all of a sudden, England's like, you know, it's a totally different environment. Like, is there anyone, like any sponsor or, you know, person home, like, oh, please don't fight each other? Are they going to be like, I'm not watching rugby league anymore. Australia and England, they punched each other. How dare they? It's just like, what the hell are we doing, bro?
Yeah.
It's just so silly. And ironically, like, you know, that's, like, if you take out the safety side of things, it's arguably a worse call than the Stefano Molo one, because at least with the Stefano Molo one, you go, you know what, Samoa, Tonga, I'm willing to let a little bit slide because I want to bring the fans back in. Even though it should have been 10 in the bin and it was crazy they got fined. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's more reasons why you would let that go than why you would send Tino and Dom Young in, because they didn't even throw a punch.
Oh.
They pulled blokes off each other and then threw them around. Honestly, like, genuinely embarrassing. Embarrassing stuff. Like, rest of the occasion. Anyway, that done. Anyone else with the England side, boys?
No, I think you've covered off on them all pretty well. Yeah, some of those forwards, I thought the
mate.
back rows were good. The back rows were really good.
Yeah, you said I covered it pretty well. I appreciate that.
Mate, you did cover it excellently.
Thanks. Oh, well.
Up and
Wow,
about.
excellent,
Thank
Mal.
you. Yeah.
Had you grumpy coffee today? Yeah.
Thank you.
No, the back rows I thought were really good. And you know, some of their forwards, as you covered off in the front row, McKeegan and stuff, like very, very high tackle efficiency, 95% plus, like doing their, like keeping them in that arm wrestle that you spoke about. Like, I thought they were pretty impressive. So
Well, the forwards couldn't have done really much more.
correct.
Won the field position, won the possession, won the meterage. Like, you know, essentially, our average set was a little bit different, only by a little bit. Like, what more could have the forward pack done, especially when you consider, respectfully, like, they're not on the same tier as the Australian forward pack. If anything, you probably look at it and go, the England forward pack, relative to what they can play like, played better than the Australian forward pack.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Which is a compliment to them, because last week that was the big knock. Like, as an Aussie, when I watch an England versus Australia game, and look, maybe England people think the same about us, but I expect them to be grubs. Like, I just do. Like, every English forward that's come across here and done well has had grub in his game, and I like that shit. I like it, and that's what I liked about this week. Whereas last week, too nice, bro. Like, you know how disrespected, like, the lead up was? And I know it was the media saying, not the players, but, like, go out there and throw a little bit of a forearm in there. Like, when the number 9...
I like that. I like that. Yeah, but it's true, right?
It's rugby league,
I think
bro.
it was the very first set. Like, they gave away a penalty, but the first 3 tackles, the line speed, just up in your face.
That's what you need. And also, you need to test the ref. Where is the line? And he's going to be less likely... Anyway, so you need to test the ref. But, like, you know, I'm going to sound like an old, you know, bleeding heart rugby league fan. We've I don't want to say softened the game, because they're still just as tough. They're just as tough as back in the day. But, like, I feel like people are forgetting this is a violent game. This is not like touch footy. It's not soccer. It's not, you know, AFL's a bit tougher, but it's not even AFL. This is one of the toughest games in the world. There are going to be tough men that play it, and sometimes you need to do certain things to win that battle. The talk in the, like, honestly, I reckon there are some people that think the talk before the forwards walk out in an NRL game or an international is like, go out there and play your hardest and, you know, win the wrestle and you know, just be really strong in the contact. I promise you, the talk is essentially like you're about to fight someone you don't like. That's what the talk's like. You know, and I understand, you know what, it's the wrong word is not soft, sanitize the game. Sanitize the game. And it's good because it reaches more people, but at the core of rugby league, it is about dominating the opposition physically. That is the core of rugby league.
When you think about it, right, these guys spend 5 days out of the week hyping themselves up to take on a certain player, a certain team. So they are on edge, ready to go. To then not expect them to have a bit of push and shove when that line gets drawn a little bit closer is almost unfair to the players.
It's silly. It's like these guys, in regards to physicality and, like, wanting to get amongst it, like, most NRL players have a little bit of a screw loose. Like, it's almost like saying an MMA fighter, boxer, like, why aren't you like a gentleman? Like, you know, granted they can be gentlemen. I'm not saying they are like that. And that's, this sanitized version of the game that, like, ooh, like, don't, like, no. Sometimes if Harry Grant's on the ground and I can headbutt him accidentally, maybe I do it. Like, but it happens. Like, that's what the conversation is like. Bro, if you get a free shot on him and you can get away with it, do it. Now, I'm not saying, like, it's like the old days where you come flying in from behind someone and fucking elbow them in the back of the head. But just little tiny stuff, like a little forearm on their head, or what Jez Litton did, where he pretended to get up and then he headbutted Harry Grant to a degree, and then they got in a bit of that scuffle. Like, that's part of rugby league. It's a physical game. And you need to find that line and win the line without getting pulled up by it. So that's my opinion anyway. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we need to keep it like, I'm the old school fucking. This comes from a winger too, so like it's a hilarious thing. But yeah, I just think that we've sanitized the game so much. People have like disconnected it from the reality of it, which is you've got these super athletes essentially averaging over 100. They're all over 100 kilos, all over 6 foot, dominating each other physically. Like, what do we always say? Like, this half can't do this unless his forward pack dominate the opposition. How do you dominate the opposition? By dominating them physically. It's absolutely. Anyway, there's my old school rant out of the way. Okay, Kangaroos. I have to be honest, like, there's not really that much to talk about because they don't play that well. Like, last week was, like, pretty good. This week was, like, okay, I guess. I thought their defence was quite good. Although not much was thrown at them. There was obviously some individual performances that were great, but they just look so clunky, bro. Like it's painful to watch. So they definitely did the jersey proud because they did what they needed to do. I like the fact that as soon as players started getting a push and a shove, there's nothing I hate more when a player gets in a push and a shove and his team doesn't run over. Yeah. I'm just like, bro, you got to run over. Doesn't want to happen. But so they can, they did the jersey proud, but just so clunky, so clunky. So I just hope for the game's sake, we can see Australia play at like a 7.5 or 8 out of 10. Just give us that, because at the moment they're getting the job done, but it's not pretty.
Completion rate again, high 60s in back-to-back tests. When you look at the names on paper, I'm so excited to watch these games because if, like you said, if they click at a 7 out of 10, it's going to be lights out. Yep. Some of the names in that side and the individual talent, but. Yeah, it's almost just sums up the whole kind of tour at the moment, right? Like, it just doesn't look right when you're watching it. You're just waiting for them to hit their straps, and it's not quite happening.
Yeah. Chat to my colleague and friend of the show, Sam Phillips.
Reportedly a friend of the show.
Allegedly.
They're all alleged.
Well, we were talking about the completion rate.
Acquaintance.
Acquaintance. That's fair.
Colleague?
Yeah, he doesn't really work though. That's we were saying after the first game, completion rate like sort of 60%. And he goes, "Who would have thought a bunch of guys who were basically on a bit of a Kentucky tour with a bit of footy thrown in aren't completing it at a high clip?" And it kind of has felt a bit like that. Like they're so good, but they're not like kind of clinical and at that high level that they can get to. So
when you compare this standard of footy compared to the final series, like it is. Not even close. Like honestly, the club teams in the finals in the last few games would probably pump this Australian side if they played like this.
Or even the Pac Champs games. Like as a Kiwis fan, I'm watching that yesterday, being like, man, I would love a crack at this Aussie team at the moment, just to see how close we would get, because I feel like the standard in the Pac Champs has been a fair bit higher.
Much more enjoyable to watch. I thought Samoa, especially Samoa and New Zealand, I think the Tonga have been really poor in the Pac Champs, unfortunately. But yeah, look, I will say, Munster once again, isn't he just like this? He's like an enigma. Like, he struggled a little bit in finals recently. Grant won 2 grand finals, but just when you like don't expect or like, the state or the nation needs him to do something strange to get the win, he just does it every time. Like we couldn't crack him for our life, and then he just goes dummy. And look, I know technically, did you listen to a bit of the English commentary?
Yeah.
Fuck. Listen, I'm all for biased commentary, but holy moly.
Yeah.
But yeah, he pulled something out of nothing. But we've got to speak. I mean, really, sadly, the story out of the game is really Jarvis. The guy getting on the Jarvo.
Yeah.
Getting on the field.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. Look, I don't like to kind of like promote guys that streak or whatever, but that like one rascal in the class that gets away with what everyone else can't get away with?
Kevy's cousin.
Yeah, Kevy's cousin, exactly. And if you're your coach's cousin, you can get away with that kind of stuff.
Crazy. What did Munster say? He thought he'd won like a corporate competition or something to sing
what
the
a competition.
Wow. Where's that comp? I want to get into
what
it.
A comp to win.
Oh my God.
I straight away recognised him and was like, no way, this is happening right now. He had Jarvo 69 on the back too, but security thought he was a player. I saw he walked on last as the team came out the huddle.
Did you see the video of him? I think it's Code or whatever has the full video of seeing him sneak on.
Crazy.
Mental, bro. Like,
he'd been a bit quiet for a few years, Jarvo. He probably had a bit of a purple patch there a few years ago. Probably had to give it a bit of a spell just because he was getting a bit too.
He's like the Borat of like getting on the field for games. You've got to just go low because otherwise people know who you are.
That's right. We had him at the cricket a couple of years ago when India were playing at Lords.
Yep.
And he was on Twickenham with the All Blacks. He was out there as well. So yeah, it'd been a little while. So it was a nice surprise kind of, but probably just what the series needed for a bit of,
Needs something.
I saw he was trying to sing the national anthem too, but I think he gave up after the first line. He was kind of like,
Yeah.
that's as far as his research went.
Yeah.
Well, he probably thought he'd be off the field by then.
Yeah, he would have probably assumed he would have been taken off
He's
by
like, I just
security.
need 10 seconds of the anthem and then I'm good. At
Where
least he
were
showed a bit of
security?
respect. He showed a bit of respect though, the first 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Where
Was
were they?
good. Oh, mate.
He got to the end of the anthem.
A bloke dressed in an Australian jersey in boots and that walks past you like all the people around there. How does he get in?
Oh, and no offense, but he doesn't exactly look like he's ready to play 80 minutes in the
No.
middle, does he?
No.
Like he definitely stood out.
How would you use him? Sort of a 30-minute stint and then a 20-minute stint later?
Maybe even shorter window
Yeah.
than that. Maybe first 10, take the sting out of the game, and then spell him for the rest of the 70.
But yeah, so I understand there are some people like, mate, it's a national anthem. They've earned the right to be on there. I get all that, but like as I said, he's like that one bloke in the classroom where you go, you know what? The funniness outweighs the perceived disrespect or whatever. I found it funny. Obviously, I don't. If it became a situation where everyone was doing it, then I'd be like, show some respect. But look, it's gotten crazy views. It's the biggest promo the game's got.
Well, that's the thing,
Seriously.
right? Like that's the thing that lit up my group chat from that game.
Yeah.
Was him. So in a way, it's at least promoted that the game
Yeah.
was on.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll let Java do a couple of podcasts or something over there to promote
They do
the
something.
series. Yeah.
They do something.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Beatles reenactment with Java.
Yeah, crossing. Yeah.
You know what? That's his next assignment is to sneak onto a pop star stage and be like a backup
Well, he did
singer.
that, didn't he? Didn't he do the Olympics closing ceremony
No way.
last year?
No way.
Yeah.
That's
In
so,
France, I think.
Do you reckon it all started with Javo? Like he's in the pub with his mates, and the boys are like, "Oi, like how funny it would be if you just like randomly ran on the field and did this, this, and this," and then it became like a thing. Because like think about the money he would owe in fines.
Oh, yeah,
because he's
literally.
arrested by now. He's
Well, he
arrested by now.
crowdfunds it, doesn't he? Patron.
Oh, does he?
I think so. People pay his fines for him. I
No
think.
way.
Crazy. And how he pulls it off. It's an art, really.
It is an art. Like talk about like he's almost like a Secret Service person. He like blends into the crowd.
I reckon he could contract out.
Yeah, contract out as like a hitman or some shit,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't see him coming.
Well, it says here last year, 2024, he did. He snuck on, so you can watch the video on his YouTube channel. He snuck onto the Paris Olympics closing ceremony and got a photo with French President Emmanuel Macron.
No.
Bro, that's enough. Like, you've got to show some respect to the art form there.
But that
Yeah.
is also worrying, the state of security in the
Oh,
world
yeah.
at the moment.
Because, the SAS Who Dares Wins or whatever, that
Yeah.
show, they always say, like, the best SAS soldiers are not necessarily the guys that stand out or the worst. They call them the grey man. That's just like, you don't actually know they're there, but they're still doing everything. He's a grey man. He's a grey man.
Makes sense.
Yep.
There you go. There you go.
This was the tip of the iceberg.
My SAS listeners, let us know if what I just said was a bunch of nonsense. So.
Yeah, but this was the tip of the iceberg for security in France, wasn't it? Because now we've got the Louvre getting...
Mate, have you seen the video of
You
that?
think that was Java?
Well, might have been. They still haven't caught him, have they?
Yeah, no.
You know what? He could give lessons on how to like steal and blend in and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Like those entrepreneur people on like here's my class for like how to make a bazillion bucks.
Online course.
Online course of how to
Yeah.
blend in.
Gotcha.
Boom. There's some cash for you, Javo.
But how would you watch it? Because he's blended in the whole course.
That's so true.
So you're
Great
just
point.
staring at a blank screen.
Yeah, you don't want a bloke that does pick up in the algorithm on his own page because you're like, mate, that's
Yeah,
literally
we found
the
you.
opposite of
Yeah.
blending in. So like he
point.
should really have minus 100 followers right now. Like you don't even know he exists.
Between this and the Baja men, we've covered some ground today.
Well, the Baja Bros.
Oh, the Baja
Yeah.
Bros.
Well,
Apology.
yeah.
Apology.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
Oh, reach out, Javo, if you're a listener. Okay, in regards to the Australian side, look, I thought Munster was outstanding, but really I thought Angus Crichton was probably our best player.
He's probably Dill Brown is probably, for the Kiwis would be
Yeah.
probably their nominee at the moment. Angus Crichton, I'd say, he was pretty good in the first test.
Great.
Very good numbers again in this one as well. If he has a big game 3, he's probably our answer to that.
You know what's weird? It's like the flips happen. So back in the day, when a player like Samoa, Tonga, not the Kiwis, they were in top tier, but like Fiji, PNG, there'd be a really good player when they all played each other. And we'd always say, well, the standard's not as high as Australia versus England. So like you take the golden boot with a bit of grain of salt. I'd argue it's flipped on its head. And like if you play good in Australia versus England, is it as valuable as playing good in, Samoa or New Zealand or New Zealand Tonga?
Yeah, so you reckon there could be some bias in terms of weighting of...
Well, I hope
Of
they
ranking
weighted
performances,
Yeah, I
right?
hope they
Yeah.
weighed it fairly. Like I think that like Junior Bowlall's performance and Brown's one probably weighted more highly than some of the Aussies because England hasn't been great.
Yeah. Well, I am looking forward to seeing the nominees, and I'm also looking forward to seeing if Tane Milne and Esan Masters get nominated for a second year in a row as well.
That's what I'm talking about. They don't weight it properly. The goat's he's been doing the damn thing for years for Fiji, and no one gives him any credit.
He's consistent.
100%.
Mate, he's consistent, all right. In regards to performances, other performances outside of that, who stood out for you boys? I thought Nwanga Tuase, although he had some good moments, it was one of those games, similar to Reece Walsh to a degree, where it just didn't work, like made silly decisions and they just didn't pay off.
Yeah, I think it's almost a bit of frustration, right? You're wanting to make something happen and show how talented you are, but it's just not going your way. Like, even for Reece Walsh, a few of those 4 passes he threw, things like that, over the last month, those have been sticking every single time. So, look, slightly off game, you could say, from him, but
good
still
defensively.
Yeah, really good defensively.
Where does that come from?
Still a good game, right? But it's just the standard that we're setting for him at the moment. But I was the same with Nwanga Tuase. I was just hoping he would get more opportunities, and then when he has got the ball, that crazy little offload he tried to throw.
He offload to himself.
Pass. Yeah.
Like, holy.
Impressive. But that's a guy trying to make something happen, right?
Yeah. Who stood out for you outside of those boys?
Well, I thought Harry Grant had an interesting day, but I just love the intensity he plays with. He reminds me of someone almost like an English player, right? He's just into everything, the niggle, and I feel like when the Kangaroos are at their best, it's because Harry Grant is at his best. But
his ability to pull a penalty is like second to none.
Oh, and he looks like one of those players that would just frustrate you when you're coming up against him, right?
Yep.
But agreed, Munster, probably the standout, him and Angus Crichton. And Angus Crichton's been outstanding over these two tests.
Who's that for you, mate?
Yeah, all those guys were great. I thought Ruben Cotter again, great knock off the bench. Just, you can just put him anywhere, does a job, hits hard. I thought he had another solid 50 minutes they got out of him in the end, so pretty much stayed on there once he got on. But I thought he was really solid. Outside of that, ball in hand, Hudson Young, pretty good.
Yep.
Couple of missed tackles, but he was trying to get in there and kind of, jam a few fellas and stuff like that. But
jam his countryman.
That's right. I always love the way he plays his footy. He's just like built for rep footy, you know. Right place, right time, got the try.
Yeah, he's one of those players. When he's playing against you, you hate his guts because he's just into everything. But when he plays for you, you love him to death.
Well, look at Reece Walsh. Now they're best mates.
There you go.
Yeah.
Matty, what about you, mate? Mike's okay, fair enough. All right. That is the Australia versus England review. I'll just say, brought to you by Grumpy Coffee. Get your Grumpy Coffee from grumpycoffee.com.au. And also, don't forget, Aspley Mazda are currently doing a very special sale just for Bloke community members on used cars. They've got over 100 at the moment. They do a 120-point check on all cars, and you just got to message Lukey. Go to LDC_1, give him a follow, and give him a message. Alrighty, it is time for New Zealand versus Tonga. Huge talking point out of this. Huge talking points. Okay, so Katoa received a concussion, most likely, in the warm-up. So Lehigh Hopewadi, I think, was like jumping to catch a ball. Long story short, there's footage of him getting essentially knocked out. Now, we don't know whether the medical staff saw it happen or saw the footage. We also aren't clear on what the process was after that. However, Christian Wolf has come out and said he was happy with the process from the medical staff. Now, Matty, could you try and find, did he do an HIA test after that shot? Because this is a really, really serious issue, in my opinion, and it could actually overshadow everything that's happening right now with all the talk about brain damage, with all the talk about that it's our biggest hurdle and our biggest challenge as a game going forward. For something like this to happen, so essentially for people that may have missed the game, Katoa in the warm-up gets hit hard in the head, looks like he gets concussed seriously, not a little one, like a serious concussion, to the point where on the ground, dropped the ball, was laying there for a little bit. He then continues the warm-up, goes out and plays, gets a head knock, a substantial one, with a massive cut under his eye, goes under the stadium, comes back out, passes the HIA, so they did the right process there, goes back out, gets hit in the head again, I'm pretty sure, comes off the field, and then with about 20 minutes to go, apparently, reportedly, all that stuff, you can see him saying, mouthing the words to a degree, I'm not feeling great, or something along those lines. It is then reported that it took 6 players and the staff and everything to load him onto a buggy, which would then take him to hospital. It has also now been reported that he needed to have a surgery to remove pressure from the brain, I'm pretty sure. Is that correct, Matty?
To relieve
relieve
fluid.
pressure from the
Yeah.
brain, because sometimes when a concussion happens, the brain swells after the impact. So he released a recent image, Katoa, on his Instagram, basically not saying exactly what's going on, but he said, in quotations, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." And then he said, "I appreciate everyone for checking in. Sorry if I haven't gone back to any of you guys, but I really appreciate all the love and the messages. Offer Atua." Is that how you say it?
Yeah, offer to. Yeah.
What does that mean? Like thanks or something?
Yeah, I think it's basically like thank you or like much love. Like,
Okay. And so that's kind of where we're at now, Matty. Now, does it say anywhere?
Not specifically, and I suspect the NRL will heavily investigate this, so we'll know more later. But I'm going off Christian Wolf's comments after the game. He said he had 2 HIAs in the game. He passed his HIA from the first one, and the second one he doesn't go back on anyway. By all reports, he was fine when he came back off, but it deteriorated after that. But that's for the second 2 you mentioned, not the pre-match
So Christian Wolf
warm-up
has not commented on the concussion, like reported alleged concussion before the game.
one. I'm going to keep looking, but I've read 3 articles and I've seen nothing so far.
Okay, so here's my massive, massive concern. And I've been a broken record, and people get sick of me saying it, and I've been saying it for years. We are playing with fire with this head knock stuff. You think you're cutting the line, you think you're doing what's best for the player or the team, and it's win at all costs. If they didn't do a HIA test after that initial hit, and they saw it and were aware of it, there are going to be some massive problems for the medical staff in that, and the staff across the board.
I've got the Coach Sports article
go.
here. Katoa was attempting to collect a high ball when his head collided with Hopeway's right shoulder. Wolf revealed after the match that the Tongan team medical staff didn't believe Katoa required a head injury assessment following the contact. However, Katoa was subject to an HIA in the 9th minute of the contest after reeling out of a tackle against the Kiwis. He passed that one, returned to the field in the 23rd minute before a final head knock in the 51st minute forced Katoa from the field.
Look, the tough thing is you've got hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that have seen the slow-mo replay. So their assumption will be that the trainers also saw that replay. We're just going to need to know more. The NRL is going to investigate this because they need to investigate this. If that was seen by medical staff, that hit and him lying on the ground, there is going to be, like, the controversy that's going to fall out from this is going to be absolutely massive. If it is true that, and I want to be extremely clear because we do not know who saw it, what happened in regards to on the field. If someone did see it in the medical staff or even just the staff in general, well, from the medical staff, because you can't put the blame on the normal staff because that is not their area of expertise. But if someone in the medical staff did see that and they just said, it doesn't need a HIA, as I said, I've been saying it for years. We have been playing with fire for years. And now we have opened the game up from scrutiny across the board. All the hard work that's been done by the NRL and all the doctors and all the money that's been spent can be just burnt in a second because we thought, let's let this guy go through. Again, want to be clear, if it was seen by the doctors. This is a big, big problem. The only thing I hope, and I really, really hope, that it was not witnessed by the medical staff and they were not informed of the seriousness of the impact. Because if they did, this might be one of the worst duties of care I've seen in a very long time. I'd love to get your thoughts, Searley.
Yeah, this is a scary one, isn't it? This is the one where something like this can spread across codes where, fans of other sport take notice of this and just be like, how was he allowed to play? Like you said, in the chaos of a warm-up, a lot of things can get missed, and we have the joys of seeing the social media clips and the replays. When I first saw it, I assumed he'd been ruled out pre-game. And like all our mates were saying, oh no, Eli Katoa's not playing anymore. He's taken a big knock in the warm-up. When I saw
so you were at the game? Did you see it on your phone?
No, I saw it on my phone. I was getting sent it from mates being like, wow, did you see this? I actually didn't see it because there was a lot going on.
Yeah, it's a warm-up. You don't really see everything.
Exactly. You're not paying close attention to everything that's going on. But once I saw the footage, I thought, he's obviously going to be ruled out of the game here. I was surprised when I saw him on the field. Yeah, it's worrying. You could tell even just by the way he was playing. Like there was certain uncharacteristic mistakes or things like that were coming into his game, and every time they showed him on the big screen, he just didn't look 100%, in my opinion. But again, you don't want to read too much into it. But yeah, this is one of those things where if it had gone horribly wrong, right, it tarnishes the game forever.
Forever. And to be honest, like, I know what you're alluding to there. I feel like it has gone horribly wrong regardless, but I know what you're alluding there. Like, it could go even worse. So hopefully he's okay. I'll be honest, and I don't know. I'll never know. I find it super hard to believe that wasn't sent to anyone in the team.
Yeah.
Like that warm-up is at least, what do you reckon, 40 minutes from the game?
Yeah, because I probably saw it about 20 minutes before the game, right? And it had gone pretty viral by then.
Like, I find it pretty hard to believe that someone in that team, and I know it's not their duty to pass on, oh shit, we've just seen Eli Katoa get absolutely axed. But surely it reached someone in a position of authority that at least could identify, okay, this is not good. Like, I need to go and tell someone about this. I don't know. I'll never know. Maybe the investigation will find out. But it's not looking good, man. It is not looking good. As I said, I'll cop blokes going out there with a bung shoulder, a bung knee, bung whatever. Like, I came through a time where you got picked up off the deck and kept playing. But head knocks, we cannot play with this. It could ruin the game. Literally ruin the game. This is fire. And I'm not talking, like, that's just from a business perspective. Think about the player. Think about when he's 50, 60 years old. Think about his family, his kids, his extended family. That when he goes to work, expects a certain amount of hopeful, again, I don't know who saw what, hopefully the best care possible. Yeah. Hammy, what are your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, pretty tough one. I think we're definitely going to find out more about it in the next couple of days, you'd imagine, because there'll be a really thorough investigation of it all. But particularly the way that we have a look at any of these incidences in warm-ups now, they'll probably be treated the same as a game now. You'll probably be expected to, have your doctor kind of watching or observing the session and all that sort of stuff. But, to get 3 pretty severe head knocks in the space of 2 hours or whatever is not good. And obviously, it was bad. He had to go to hospital and got kind of the Medicab had to come out and all that sort of stuff while he was sitting on the bench. So imagine if he had gone out again and kept, like, even if he didn't get hit in the head, but, like, making tackles. Like, it could have been
Could have
worse.
gone horrible.
So
like genuinely devastating. And at that point, I don't care about the game. I think none of us do. We care about Ellie.
Yeah.
Like, this is a guy that has entertained us and put his body on the line week in, week out. That, yes, he's a soldier, he's a warrior, he's the toughest, one of the toughest men in rugby league, or just in general in sport. But it is the duty and responsibility of people that it is that's their profession to protect players from themselves.
Yeah.
We in boxing, we always talk about protecting them fighter from themselves. Of course, Ellie wanted to get back out there and play. Of course, the players want it, but that's the whole point of having these people in these key positions. Matty, what do you got there, mate?
Yeah, no, nothing really to add. Just I've kind of no quotes. Basically, that's the main one. No quotes. Pretty much what Hammy said. I've read on 3 different articles on 3 different organisations that he wasn't put through a HIA. So that's what's being reported. Again,
and I know it's going to be very hard for people to separate the slow-mo replay that you've seen, and you're just going to assume it was seen by the people that it should be seen by. So, because a warm-up, it's not like a game where it's their job to be sitting there watching it. I'm assuming that the doctor doesn't sit there and watch everything that's going on. He might be strapping someone, not strapping someone, but he might be tending to a bunch of different things in the warm-up. So you can't just assume for sure that the doctor saw it happen and that, but again, I just, how did that, am I going too far in saying how did it get to someone in the team?
No, I think you're 100% right. And if that had happened 2 minutes into the game, there's no way he's coming back out onto the
100%.
paddock, right? Because the powers that be would have 100% intervened from then. So
I think that gives you an insight also into how serious the contact was. We're not talking about like
it looked like a massive shot.
We're talking about, like, if you were to guess, and it's not our profession, but that happens on the field, he's not coming back on the field. That's how substantial the shot was.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, a little day, like he got up, he was a little bit dazed, and he just kept on running. Like, no, it was huge. So yeah, in these situations, guys, I know there is a very reasonable part of you that wants to care for the person and protect, and you want someone to blame and point the finger and say they should have done this. They should have done, if they saw everything that went on. Absolutely, I'm with you, but we just don't know yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of info still to come.
Yeah,
right?
so let's wait. I tell you what, if it comes out that they did, see it or whatever, then we will come back on this podcast and have a very different conversation, or a very much more passionate conversation. But I just think hold on judgment until we know exactly what happened in the situation. Because I'll be honest, I struggle to believe a medical profession or like a doctor or whatever would see that and let him go back on. And the reason why I say that is because the medical profession that's a part of the team or whatever, usually they have another job, which is like they have their doctor's license and stuff. If they just cave to pressure from higher ups to go, oh no, I'll get in play, they get that stripped. That's their whole livelihood gone. You know, and the reason I know how seriously they take it, or at least in my experience, my brother's a doctor. So it's honestly, it's more important than literally anything. Like most doctors don't cross that line for anyone, because it's not only the duty of care or whatever. It's also the ethical line that they have agreed to when becoming a doctor. And also most doctors, I'm not saying all doctors. Oh no, I wouldn't say most. A lot of doctors, like, it's self-select for people that care about others, because you're getting into a field where you're trying to advise others how to take better care of yourself. So as I said, we don't know what happened. Let's wait for the information as to how it all came out. Like, it sounds silly to say this, but I just hope it was just a crazy mistake, an incident where everything that could go wrong went wrong and they didn't have the information they needed to make the call. I will be so upset if it is the case that they thought, you know what, let's just put it under the rug, we'll get through the game and it's going to be all good. I really hope that's not the case. But on top of everything, my main focus is not the game, it's not the rules, it's not the outcry, and it's not the fallout from all this. It's Eli Katoa. Yeah. It's Eli Katoa. As I said, we're talking about a young man that's a father. I'm pretty sure he's a father, a husband, a son. You know, the last thing you'd want is that kind of stuff to happen to him. So I hope he's all good. Yeah. So our well wishes to Eli, because that's the last thing I want to see happen. In regards to the game, wow, what a performance from New Zealand. What a performance from New Zealand. I just think that it's probably the best game I've seen New Zealand play, probably since the 30-0 win against Australia. And honestly, there were periods there where they were even at stages better. Like, I'm trying to think of the last time a New Zealand side was so fast and so clinical. Like, this is what the stats were, and we're going to get into it for Tonga very soon. But in the first half, this was their average meters compared to Tonga, 47.38 compared to 26.25. I've literally never seen a first half with an average that big. Like, that's 21 meters difference. And granted, I know they had more possession, but that's the average set. That's not just like total meters. That's the average set. That is a pure and utter dominance from the Kiwi pack. And that's what we spoke about earlier about their dominance. But as a Kiwi, mate, I'll get you to talk about your thoughts on the game, who stood out, who didn't, everything like that.
Yeah, I was so excited watching this one because I feel like it was a perfectly balanced performance in terms of the middle forwards just dominated. I thought we looked dangerous on our edges. I thought Britain Nikita and Co in the first half were outstanding.
Yeah.
And then in the second half, it almost switched sides and they were just as lethal out on the other edge. So, yeah, I thought our halves pulled the strings perfectly and our bench had a massive impact. And then Keanu out the back of shape, just his speed and his ability to just identify mismatches and see what's on and pull the right strings at the right time. Like that try he scored, well, we were 10 metres out from our own line.
Yeah.
He identified the opportunity for a 2-on-2, bounced outside a couple defenders, puts McLean away and then backs up on the middle. Like, to me, it feels like a while since we've had that ability to score points from anywhere on any side of the field.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like we've got at the moment.
Yeah, they were absolutely outstanding. Like, they were so ruthless and quick and played so unselfishly too, all the forwards. It was about quick play of the balls. It wasn't about individual stats. It was about just incredible. Hammy, what do you think of the performance of the Kiwis?
Yeah, well, that's, it's all rolling off the back of that forward pack, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which, there's just nowhere to hide. Every time one of them goes off, another absolute dog, the Baha man, another dog comes on.
The Baha Bros.
The Baha Bros, that's right. They really set the tone and just make it so hard for... you're constantly moving back. You're on the retreat the whole time. And that's, the speed and the class of some of these backs really comes to the fore. Obviously, Suit Steele and Brown, we spoke about him a little bit earlier as well. Obviously, a shame that Ronnie Mulatalo got injured last week, but the good, the upside of that was, it found a spot for Kinney in the team. And he's such a gun,
Bro.
You just want to find a way to get him in there because his best spot is fullback, but he's one of those guys where who cares? Just get him on the field and let him rip.
Yeah.
And he certainly did that yesterday.
Mate,
but
he was phenomenal.
mate, there wasn't many who didn't really have a day out. That everyone played a really solid, played their role really well.
As a Kiwi, where's your head at with where the Kiwis are right now? They obviously come off that crazy big win a couple of years ago against Australia. World Cup, pretty disappointing. But outside of that, at least at the moment, they're looking good.
Yeah,
As a
they are.
Kiwi, how you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Obviously, this weekend is the big one up against Samoa, but you can't help but look ahead as well. Next year's World Cup, that opening game against the Kangaroos. Like, imagine Jerome Hughes running the cutter in the 7 at the moment, and that's no disrespect to a Kieran Foran, who I think just personifies so much what it means to wear the Kiwi jersey on and off the field. But I think adding someone like Hughes in there, who on his day is...
Imagine him behind that forward pack.
Oh, yeah, crazy.
Holy.
Crazy, right? And I feel like we've got the depth, like you mentioned, losing Ron. Like in previous years, that would have really hurt. When you look at someone like Will Warbrick, who didn't make the squad, that's crazy enough. The ability to shift Casey McLean onto a wing, I was really worried about that. I thought it might have taken away some of our strike out on the edges.
I almost feel like, could he be a better winger than centre? Like, he kind of
That's the
suits
thing.
it.
Like the amount of effort plays that wingers have now, he touches the ball more, and his yardage plays, like he is such a big human.
He's so strong.
His
Far
acceleration as well, like
Yep.
his first few steps is crazy, and he just creates line breaks when the yardage carries, and that starts our sets, and then you get your Fisher Harrises and that off the back of that. It's crazy. And you mentioned the balance in the forward pack, like Moses Leota, Fisher Harris, they're your quick play the balls. Then you bring on a Nafahu White, Aaron Clark, Xavier Willison. Those three combined for 185 post-contact meters. So they're the guys that bring something a little different, a different type of punch off the bench as well. So I feel like combination-wise, like we've got Phoenix Crosland playing 9 and looking outstanding.
Mate, he was
as
looking
well.
great.
I thought he was elite too. So like, there's still other players to come back into this team too. So without
Cameron
getting
Russell
too carried away ahead of this weekend,
Yep.
I feel like the Kiwis at the moment are playing some really good footy.
I'm hearing Kiwis 13 plus. That's what I'm hearing.
Wow, okay. I'm hearing that too, to be honest. I'm hearing there's no way we can lose.
Yeah.
I'm hearing
In a
there's no
nutshell.
way we don't win next year's World Cup.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
wow.
let's just settle down. Let's settle down.
Okay. Too far.
What I like though is that, like, because I'll be honest, when the whole match thing happened, and I saw kind of like talk a little bit from players, like, I was a bit like, even though it was good, it was like super intense. I was a little bit like, ooh, okay, like I hope they're not taking the easy route of like, it's a bit too intense, it's too much. When I go and play for New Zealand, I want to enjoy myself and chill. Definitely not the case. Definitely not the case. Also, like Stacey Jones, although player legend, hasn't really been a head coach for a long period of time, ever really. If I'm thinking, if I'm remembering. So there's also the untested part of that. But I just think that like they just got such good leaders now. They got premiership winning leaders. And so in regards to the performance, some key players, one of the notes I did have was like, for how good Casey McLean is at centre, and granted, like, he's one of the best in the competition, like, could he be a better winger? Like, kick into him, kick returns, the scooting. Now, maybe you're asking him to do too much and you want him to be more of a Ferrari than all the stuff, but like, I know Penrith are stacked, but that was a question I had. But let's talk about Kinney. And we spoke earlier about the service. He's physiotherapist, one of the great service all time, because how this bloke is back playing like that after the serious injury he had, and also didn't play last week, gets brought into the side. Like, the game right now is so set up for players like him and Reece Walsh, where it's so fast. Because, like, compared to, we spoke about how slow the ruck was in the first half, this was the average play the ball speed. 3.12 for the Kiwis and 3.31 for Tonga. That's origin levels quick.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, that's quicker than some origins, which shows you just how intense this game was. But yeah, Kinney, like, he's almost the prototype fullback in today's generation, at least from a running perspective. Like, ball playing wise, he's not on Walsh's level. But from a running perspective, I mean, you'd be hard pushed to find a better ball runner than him currently form-wise. Like, obviously, you got Tedesco with all the years under his belt. Tommy Turbo when he's at his best. But, like, Kinney right now is a young fella. Like, every time he runs the ball, it looks like he's going to break the line. And what I loved is 2 of the tries in the first half. So when the game was still in the balance, came off him, looking like he's taking a one-off hit-up, hitting the overs line, which confused, because a lot of the time when you're defending people coming out of their own end, you compress the line, and as centres and wingers, you have a tendency just to kind of like, if you're not doing the right thing, switch off, because you're like, I'm not going to make it. Even if they're like, oh, we're setting up for a spread, they don't do it. So Kinney is so good laterally that he can engage that 3 defender, hit the right or left foot, and he's already at like the centre, getting close to the winger. And because the winger is already switched off and the centre hasn't really, put himself in the right body position to slide off on the defence or whatever, it's a really hard thing to defend. And so 2 of their tries came off Kinney's just one-off rucks and then hitting the overs line and passing the ball. Obviously, one was his try, which he got to McLean immediately. But the other one was the Nikora one, which was an incredible pass that he did after they got to Timoko, then got to Asako.
Yeah.
Who scored it? Brown scored eventually, maybe? Anyway, one of them scored. And that all was off Kinney Singo. So, yeah, he's our Aspley Mazda service of the week. Well, his physiotherapist is anyway. The fact that he's playing as well as he is, guys, give Lukey a message, LDC_01. Currently, used cars right now. He's got over 100. He is doing a special for Bloke Communities members only. You just got to give him a message on Instagram and give him a follow. But, yeah, I thought Kinney was absolutely phenomenal. And I just hope he stays injury-free because I'm so intrigued to see where he can end up. You know, if this is what he can do when he gets... Really, he's a year and a half into his playing career because he took the half year off because of the injury.
Yeah.
What's he look like in 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Like, if he had done this off the back of a massive NRL season, playing week in, week out, and he's in the form of his career, then you just chalk it up as another game, right? But the fact how disruptive this year has been for him, it was a major injury too.
Yeah.
I believe he found out on Thursday he was going to be starting this game, so a short turnaround.
Wow.
Like, it would be so easy to be overwhelmed by all of this after the year he's had, but to put in that performance, I feel like he reads the game so well.
Yeah.
He backs his ability, and much like Reece Walsh, he almost lulls defenders into a false sense of security where they think there's nothing going on there. They'll let him drift across.
Yep.
They almost pull you into this trap,
Yep.
and then they're so quick and explosive, they pull the trigger, whether it be running themselves or passing, and they've already beat you.
Yeah, it's a great point. There's some fighters, boxers and UFC fighters, that they lull the opponent in, like they're slow with their movements. And Conor McGregor used to be really good at this, like really slow with their movements. And as you said, if you're an opponent, you're like, this isn't the normal rhythm that I'm used to. Usually I'm high intensity, everything's moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And then it's that explosive moment that they're not ready for because it's almost like a snake charmer. Like they almost get lulled into that. And you're right, mate. Kinney, like he's so good at nothing's on. Oh, actually, we're actually having a shot at you. 2 of those tries, literally, one out, hit up, nothing's on. They're just trying to get through the meters. All of a sudden, they're halfway down the field. It's a really good point in Kinney's ability and Walsh's ability to like lull the defense into there's a nothing play at the moment, boys, and then just going boom, exploding into it.
Guess how many NRL games he's played?
30 max.
28.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I felt like I makes sense now that I think about it, but my immediate thought was like 50 odd. He just feels like he's been around forever.
Yeah.
He's played 28 NRL games.
And how old is he now? Like 23?
21.
21.
So that's what's exciting as well for the Kiwis. Like you've got, again, like what is the ceiling for this bloke? I don't know. Most guys you can kind of look at and go, yeah, he could be one of a top 10 fullback or something like that. Whereas him, you're like, could he really be up there challenging the top tier fullbacks for form? Like, I think he probably, that's his ceiling at least. It's obviously staying on the field that's going to help. And so that's exciting for the Kiwis that, in a lot of these key positions, you're beginning to go, not beginning, that's wrong because in the past you have. But at least right now, you're going toe to toe, if not better. Then I think right now, the only area where I think you can say Australia are better is outside backs. And obviously in the spine. But you at full strength in your spine, they're better, but it's a little bit better.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you go Hughes, Brown, Kinney at their best versus Cleary, Munster, Walsh at their best, like I'd pick Australia, but not by that much. I think the real difference though is in the number 9. I think right now Australia's number 9 is substantially better. However, what 9 isn't, Grant? Clearly better than kind of thing.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the thing I like about our backline at the moment is I feel like we've got a mix of body shapes. When I think of Kiwis teams in the past and outside backs, you think of Manu, you think of these big bodies, right?
Yeah.
But we still have those bigger bodies. But then we have a Matty Tomoko, a McLean, who's a big body, but he's powerful too. Keanu Kini. Like, we have those different body shapes and styles of play now, explosive guys. We're not just big, powerful as well. So I feel like the balance is really nice between the back line at the moment.
It is interesting to see if the Warriors are watching that going. I know Tuapiki's a different player, but he's not a different style of player to Kinney. He plays relatively similar. Like I think Kinney's above him in regards to like form or whatever. But do they look at that? Because I've been a big proponent of Chans at fullback. I just think his ball playing is suited for your kind of conservative style of footy the Warriors play now. However, I thought Chance is pretty good at centre. I think he's a good centre. I really do. Now, I know, he misses tackle here or there, but what centre doesn't? Even the best centres miss tackles.
Yeah.
I think he's a good solid centre. What are your thoughts in regards to Warriors? Do they look at that and go, okay, maybe we do put Tiggle Picky back there, Chance in the centres, RTS on the edge?
Yeah, it's been a big talking point for fans because obviously whenever Tane is at New South Wales Cup level, he's a massive standout, isn't he? And that always gets tongues wagging for sure. Every time he gets an opportunity in first grade, he always plays really good footy too. The talk around Chance is leadership on and off the field, and also
defense as well.
Defensive, his ability to communicate and count numbers apparently is second to none as well, which really helps defensive lines, right? So whether Chance could still do that from centre, I'm not so sure, but centre is a position as well where we have a lot of potential, but our centres haven't been able to be that healthy. Unfortunately, guys like Rocco Berry, Eli Katoa, they just can't stay on the paddock.
And even defensively, the guys that do take that position, defensively not, So what would you do?
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the Tane experiment, but only if it works for Chance, because I think Chance's work rate out of our backfield is so underrated. And it's almost that Penrith mould, right, of the back three where you've got Roger running for crazy amount of metres too. So it's that type of blueprint. But whether that smaller body in Tane makes defences second guess a little bit more and give us a touch more creativity is something that I would find interesting as well.
Yeah, because I do think sometimes, and you've gotten better at it this year, because I felt like last year, 24, it just was the same over and over. And I just got red all the time, whereas you put a guy like Tua Picky back there, it's like, that's not going to be the same. And so do you lack creativity? Anyway, it's obviously we'll talk about in the Warriors chat. In regards to some of these other performances, look, take your pick. When White came on, his power through his hips is at an all-time high. In contact, he must be a nightmare to tackle, an absolute nightmare. I thought he was phenomenal when he came on.
Yeah, big body. I think he had 160, 170 plus metres across 54 minutes, which is just wild. And I feel like he's got the footwork and the ball playing ability to do it all too. So I'm so excited to watch his career flourish, because I feel like the step up this year compared
192 metres.
Wow.
79 post contact, 7 tackle breaks, a line break, 90 tackles, only 1 miss.
In 54 odd minutes, low 50s minutes. That is
55.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I feel like his step up this year compared to last year has been huge, and I feel like we're still far from the ceiling with his career. So
Nafahu from the White?
Yeah, I feel like he's going to be Nafahu away.
Hammy, who stood up for you, mate?
Yeah, all those guys you've mentioned. Isaiah Papali'i as well, though. I think he's had a great series as well. Through the Pac Championships. Good numbers for him as well. Probably didn't have wasn't an amazing year from him, but he really worked into it. The last probably 2 months of his NRL season were really, really good.
And you're right. He definitely worked into it for sure. He was good coming towards back end, because he was in the middle towards the end, wasn't he?
Yeah. But he's worked his way through, and I guess he's a little bit similar for the Kiwis. As got Ruben Cotter for Australia, can play in the middle, can play on the edge, but he's doing a really good job on the edge. So, I thought he was another really good player over the weekend. But they were all good. They work as such a good. They all complement each other really well. That forward pack. Tarpanay, as always, was good. I wanted to just go back to Casey McLean, though. 19 years old, 3 tests, 7 tries. So the record, the most tries anyone scored in International Rugby League is 41 tries. So, he'll get that in about 3 years' time if he keeps going at the rate that he's going. But I wanted to get it out there early. I reckon he's every chance of kind of mowing that down over the...
What's New Zealand? Is it New Zealand's 20, the most tries for New Zealand, something like that? Surely he'll beat that, the New Zealand's most tries. Yeah,
you'd have to imagine so. So Mick Sullivan has got the most for Great Britain on 41. I've only got the top 3 here. There's no one from Darren Lockyer 35, Ken Irvine 33.
That's crazy.
I'd have to find out who's got the most for New Zealand. But he's got all these blokes covered.
Probably around 30
if he stays healthy.
Yeah, man, he is such a special talent. Some of the contact. He had some pretty big boys when he would step back inside trying to tackle him. Mate, he was steamrolling them like he was bloody a front rower. And look, if you're a Toto shape, I'll go, okay, that's his bread and butter. It's he will steamroll you. He's also a Ferrari. That's what's the so not surprising, I guess, but impressive thing about Casey McLean is you've got a Ferrari that's bumping blokes like Toto. You don't get that very often.
Manu Vadavai, 22.
22? Bro, he'll walk that in. Wow. Not a bad bloke to beat too, the big fella, Manu Badavai Shana.
That's ultimate bragging rights.
Holy, the beast. Wow, he'll definitely go. So, Casey McLean, super impressive. In regards to some of the other boys, like I've already spoken about it, but the Baja Bros, Leota and Fish, and you know what, you're right. In regards to the wider forward pack, it's one of the best international units that I've ever seen. And what I mean by that is they seem so on the same page. Everyone, there's no selfish player that's like, no, I want to make 1,000,000 meters and have 20 tackle breaks. Like, it really is, okay, Leota and Fish, what's your job? It's to play the balls and jam blokes. That's it. Nothing else. Don't do anything else. And they do that to a T. Like, the amount of times you will watch, and it happens with Penrith all the time, it goes Leota hit up and then a Fish hit up. And then all of a sudden there's crazy momentum. It is all off the back of guys like Leota and that. And like the wider audience will look at the stats and go, oh, okay, Fish had 90 metres and Leota had 100 metres. Oh, that was okay, solid game. But if you actually watch the game, every bit of momentum was started by them. And then I think the bench were like, we need to almost lift the energy. Like they work so well as a unit. There's no ego. And I think that has a lot to do with guys like Tarpaner, Fish and Leota. Like, I think their leadership is one of the most underrated things in rugby league, and why I think this Kiwi side can build into something special, because they just the forward pack is playing with a level of humility that very rarely you see in international footy, because you're used to the superstars going in going, I'm the man, I do what I kind of want to do. So, and that's not just in New Zealand, it's like any nation. Egos can sometimes get the best of you, or it doesn't look like they're playing like that. Even like Britain Nikita, his ball playing was phenomenal on the weekend.
He looked like a 6 at times, right? He was
100.
Just sliding across the face, dropping people under, and then offloading off the back of that. Like, he is such an underrated player as well, I feel like. But, he was exceptional. Matty Tomoko with 12 tackle breaks.
Mate, how good's he going in these games?
Him and Isako combined for 20 tackle breaks.
Is that you say it, Isako?
Yeah, I believe so.
You know what? There's like Polynesians and like Māori and Kiwis and that. They're like, finally, we've got someone on this show that actually pronounces the fucking names
well, hopefully,
right.
I might have butchered it too, but I believe it's Isako.
I've been butchering names since about 10 years ago, so I'm sure you will. But I do my best, guys. I do my best. So, Isako? Isako. Wow, I've been saying it so wrong for so long. Isako. I've been Asako. Asako down the wing. Okay, Isako. Okay, I'll try and keep that in mind. I'm with you. I mean, we haven't even spoken about like Dylan Brown. I thought, we've spoken a little bit about him, but just how good he has been since playing for the Kiwis, and also like, not that I'd expect him to be unfit, but like, just because the year's been so weird for him, you've got to be battle hardened to go into international games to play this well. You know what I'm saying? And like, he's not really battled hard because he hasn't been in a key position, and he's been in and out of first grade and playing resis and that. That's why I'm so shocked at how good he's playing, because like, he hasn't really played that much consistent first grade in a key position since like round 10 maybe?
Yeah, I think there was a try near the end of the game. I think Chans ended up scoring it, but Dylan Brown had a carry, an offload. It might have been Papali'i who then got tackled, and Dylan Brown gets back up, second effort, screams around the short side, and then just pops the ball for Chans to score.
Yeah.
And it's like, for a guy who has every reason to not be comfortable or confident in his game at the moment, he just looks like coming back and wearing that Kiwis jersey has reinvigorated him, and it just goes to show like that is the blueprint for Dylan Brown when he is playing good footy.
Willison, geez, hasn't he just like finally hit? I mean, he's still got more potential in him. He's got even more of a ceiling in him, but mate, the confidence that the way he's played, it's kind of got lost in the noise of Paynehouse at the Broncos because Paynehouse was crazy in the final series or whatever. But Xavier Willison, since he's came back from injury this year, has been unbelievable. And just what I'm finding really interesting about the way he's playing, Mr. Sand on business himself, just his physicality in contact. Like, he very rarely gets dominated in contact now, whereas I feel like, and look, this is normal, but like most forwards when they're a bit younger, they don't really have that man strength yet. Like, you can get them in the gym, they'll throw weights around and they're as strong as anything, and they get on the field and it's like, how come you're so strong in the gym? It's just the man strength that you get as you get older. I didn't get it, which is weird. So, but I just think that he's just getting more confident in his body, where he's such a big human. He's starting to realise, like, no, I actually should win every single contact I have with the opposition. And you kind of seen it when he comes on the field.
Yeah, it's like a quiet arrogance,
Yeah.
right? And in a way, like he came back for that prelim and then grand final and then international debut all in the last month. And
Yeah.
it doesn't look like anything rattles him. So often you see guys go to the biggest stage when they are still new or early on in their career in a position where your job is to intimidate.
Yeah.
And the big stage can get too much for you. But he just seems like nothing phases him in the best possible way.
Yeah, absolutely. It just such a good game from the Kiwis. Like, it really was. Like, Tarpanier continues to prove why he's one of the best forwards in the comp. Tamati Martin, 8 years away? 2018.
Yeah.
Comes on, what a great journey, like very serious reasons why he had to walk away. All the way from 2018 was the last time he wore a Kiwis jersey. He would have, when he quit the game, I reckon there's no way he would have thought he'd be back in a Kiwis jersey. Comes on, sets up a try for Phoenix Crossland. What a great story.
Yeah, and I feel like he's another one whose versatility is so underrated, right? You
Yeah.
can chuck him at 1, 6, 7, 9, 14, and he does a job every single time. I think he played a bit of lock for the Warriors against the Panthers in that first round of finals and didn't shy away from some contact either. So he's almost the ultimate 14, but it's a luxury to be able to bring someone in like that. When we lost Jeremy Marshall-King, like bringing Tamati onto
Yeah.
the bench was massive.
Okay, let's get into the Tongan side. If you're a Tongan fan and you don't like hearing negative things about your team, you might want to switch off, because I think the players will be so disappointed with their performance over the last 2 games. Look, it's a mixture of form, but it's also, I think there is a style of rugby league that needs to be questioned in regards to maybe even selection, but also the way they play. This was so disappointing. To come out and complete at 62%. When your country supports you the way they do. And then granted, I know the Tongan fans, they're happy no matter what. So maybe I'm speaking out of turn or whatever, but just from an analysis kind of perspective, not necessarily from, speaking on that, I just think that's so disappointing. 2 games in a row where, you fought pretty hard against Samoa. This game, and this is what summed it up for me. Like, if you get beaten by a red hot Kiwi side, there's no harm in that. In the first set of the second half, New Zealand made 59 metres. The first set. That's inexcusable. That is inexcusable with a team that they've got in the first half to have an average set distance of 26 metres. That forward pack, when the opponent has 47 metres. Now, granted, I had the Kiwi forward pack ahead of it in regards to on paper and that. And they might have had injuries or whatever. You can throw all the excuses out there you want. That team should not have put in that performance. They are going to be so disappointed. More obviously they'll be stinging more than I am, or potentially the fans or whatever. But to come out in the second half and complete at 59 and let a 59 metre set happen, it's just unfortunately it's inexcusable. I just think they'll be so disappointed with that. And I think so. There's the form side of things. In regards to style of rugby league, they haven't fired a shot since really the rule changes. And I just think maybe they're relying too heavily on we're a big explosive side that has that can get a lot of tackle breaks, a lot of post-contact meters. And here's why I say that, because obviously the eye test, I'm watching it and going, they're making a lot of meters, but it's all slow. It's all, you keep your legs, you storm through for an extra 3 or 4 meters, but that's what the defense want. What they don't want is you hit and contact, win it, and find on the deck. It's what Leota and Fish do. They hit contact, they find the deck, they get a quick play the ball. Whereas if you're keep walking or keep trying to get, a break a tackle or whatever, slowness of the ruck is heaven for a defensive side, because it doesn't matter how many meters you make. It just matters that we slow the ruck down so we can get back in line. So that was the eye test. But then when I look at it, okay, so in the first half, all meters total, Tonga were 55% less than New Zealand. So that's a huge amount less. However, in post-contact meters, they were only 30% less. And that suggests to me that they are playing old school footy that is hit, keep driving the legs, don't get to the deck. Whereas New Zealand are playing the new style of rugby league that is very fast, get to the deck, make sure the play, and we can see it, 3.12 seconds play the ball. That is where I think Tonga really need to have a selection process of yes, and look, granted, maybe they didn't have the depth to bring other guys, but let's just say going forward they do. I think in attack they need to, and in defense as well, they need to start selecting players that, sprinkle your big boppers through it, but you can't all be big boppers. They need to select players that can get across the ground, that have line speed, that get to the ground and play the balls. Because at the moment, they look so second rate, unfortunately. Like, it's super disappointing. Going into this, I had New Zealand, Samoa and Tonga essentially all even.
Yeah.
So disappointing. So that's where I look at the Tongan side and I go, I think they need to have a reevaluation of the style of rugby league they want to play, because they've only won one game in the last 8. And then in regards to the form-wise, they started the game 6 sets out of 11. Like, that jersey deserves better than what's that? That's about a 55% completion rate to start the game.
Yeah.
Really disappointing, the Tongan side, unfortunately.
Yeah, 63 missed tackles in total. And I think a lot of that would come down to fatigue, right? But like you mentioned, to start the game, you shouldn't be making errors like that. And again,
First set of the second half.
Exactly.
59 metres, you're not tired.
Nah.
Come on, boys.
Exactly. And I think a lot of that could be reflected in what you said, right? It's very similar body shapes. It's very similar playing styles. You've got an amazing plan A, but when that isn't working and you're up against a team who can combat that, then maybe a plan B, a plan C needs to be able to come into action. Because like you said, when you lay out those teams on paper pre-tournament, you could literally make arguments for all 3 of them being the strongest.
Yep.
So to lose these games with a combined score of 74 points to 20 against Samoa and New Zealand, I would never have predicted that for this Tonga side. So yeah, incredibly disappointing. To touch on the fans, like you said, without a doubt, the best fan base in international rugby league for me yesterday. That was the biggest crowd New Zealanders had at a rugby league game in the last 15 years.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah, 99% were Tongan fans. It was a Red Sea, 100%. They were just singing hymns, everything respectful for the haka, silent, singing both national anthems, and it was a real celebration of Pacifica culture. So it was just unfortunate that on the paddock, the team didn't quite perform to that level, but at the same time, the Tonga fans, they were still there an hour after kickoff singing in the stands.
That's incredible, bro.
Hour after full time, sorry. The fan base deserved more. Unfortunately, they didn't get it this time, but promising signs for the international game.
Yeah, in regards to all the turnout and everything, it's going to be interesting to see how they go, because when you're especially like the Kiwis and Samoa to a degree, you're not you might be a little bit bigger than some of them, but not really by any significant amount. You're not going to be able to roll through them maybe a smaller England or Australian pack. You can go to that old school style of footy, but New Zealand are going to eat you up because they're like, no, we're just as big as you are. We're good to go here. I really think they need a really detailed review of where they are as a team, because they are so much better than what they played like. Like to get your overall feelings, Hammy.
Yeah, it's been an interesting 12 months for them, because last year obviously they got through, beat New Zealand at Mount Smart by a point. You know, they got into the Pac Championships final and they lost to the Aussies by 6 points. You know, they really looked a lot more on top of their game last year. They knew their style and they were playing really well, but they've been so disappointing in both their games so far this season. So I don't know. I don't know what's changed or what in their environment has kind of gone awry. But you felt like they were on the edge of something special last year, and we were sitting here talking like this time next year they'll probably win the Pac Champs again, and they might win the World Cup the year after. But they've taken a big step back off the back of this one. So disappointing hit out for them. I'm not exactly sure. How they're going to kind of turn that around, because there's not a lot of footy that they're going to play before the World Cup next year.
Well, and look, I understand. I understand why they had a Yongi at 6. I get it. I just think that's a bit of an example of what the mindset is like. Let's get the best gun guy, and he's played a bit of 6. He's gun in attack. Let's just get him in 6 and more. I just think the mentality with Tonga is, let's focus on defence and attack. That will take care of itself eventually. I just think they should have selected, and I feel sorry for Yongi, because defending at fullback, it's not the same. It's not even close to the same as having to make these tough reads against a rampaging New Zealand side that's winning every single ruck. I just think they should have gone best defender they can find, put him at 6. And granted, I know there wasn't much to choose from, but you've got enough weapons and strike power to kind of sort that out. I thought their defence, especially on their left head initially, Yongi was on that side. It's 6 and 7s. They just did not 6 and 7s. They just did not.
Oh dear.
I'm cool, bro.
Yeah, I know.
The kids love me, bro.
And that just validated.
That was not cringe at all.
Nah.
Don't look at me like that was cringe, bro. That was fucking cool as shit. My kids are going to grow up and be like, Dad, you're the coolest guy.
Proud moment. Proud moment.
And like, I know they got close last year, so you could hang your hat on that and go, oh no, they're still, but it still is one win since one win out of 9 games, and it's since 2022, I think. And granted, I know they don't play that many games, but this Tongan side's better than that. It's better than that in my opinion. Like, what do you got there, Matty?
Oh, I don't want to give him excuses, but I will say, compared to the pack champs last year, like Hamole's missing, Keon's moved to Australia, Paseka's missing, Tupanua's missing. Like, that's basically your whole forward pack.
I get it, but look at the team on paper still.
They lost Tamalolo game 1, and then they lost Tolukola for game 2. So you could come up with excuses as well around.
But that's what I said at the start.
Players.
Like, I get it. Like, if we want to get into the excuses or whatever, you still can't excuse that performance.
Oh, and that scoreline, right? And that many missed tackles, and just the basics of the game that you pride yourself on.
Like, you just can't. Like, as I said, am I saying that they definitely should have won the Pacific Champs this year? Like, no, obviously them with their players at full strength.
One more thing. I believe that Latu Fainu hasn't pledged to Fiji yet.
Oh.
Okay.
So he's injured at the moment. The brothers have, but apparently he's like, well, I can't find as to where he's pledged. So they could bring him in next year for the World Cup, depending on what he chooses.
I get the excuses. I do. Not excuses, but they're actual legitimate reasons. But no one was talking like that before a ball was kicked.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but we can sit here all day and go, oh, they're missing all these players. If you had been talking like that before a ball was kicked, then fair enough. Fair play to you. You're absolutely right. They were under strength. But I don't think anyone was talking like that. I think most people were sitting there going, geez, these teams are pretty red hot. Even so this is we'll just read so Lehigh Hopewado, one of the, I personally think Iongi probably should have won Dally M Rookie of the Year, but Lehigh gets picked over him. So that's how highly regarded Lehigh is. You've got Tupou, one of the best ringers of his generation. Alamotti, need I say more? Katoa, I know he didn't play well on the weekend, but he's a good NRL winger. Like, he absolutely is. You've got Iongi, okay, out of position. Katoa, one of the best, should have been the Dally M7 this year, in my opinion. Adam Fanua-Blake, don't need to say anything. Havili, they just can't. They need to start Sonny Luke. I know defensively there's some issues there, and I've said that they need to think defensive first, but the problem is like Havili's not a 9 though. That's
it's creativity that you lose. Right,
and also not even just create like bad passes, pour off the ruck or whatever. I just don't think he's an out and out 9. And is his defense that much better that it's worth it? I'm not sure. Kafusi, who, obviously he's in the back end of his career. However, defensively, he's like one of the best defensive players of his generation. Eli Katoa, granted, I understand he had that knock, so, wasn't his best. Sua Wong, bloody good player. Jason Tamalolo, doesn't need to say any more about that. Fini Fuaki, one of the good young back rowers. Fodawaker, origin player. Valmunga, gun. And, so, like, I just don't think that they should be getting beaten 40-14. Granted, when you look at this roster, like, I get it, but they're not 40 points better than.
They're still leaving someone like Leka Halasima out of their 17, which is a nice luxury to have.
Yep.
Right?
And also, it doesn't matter how many players you're missing. I'm not you're saying this, Matty, but like, you still completed at 62%, bro. Like, you could have local people playing for you shouldn't be completed at 62%. So, yeah. Extremely disappointing. Just trying to think of some other talking points from the game. A lot of it is really just based on how good the Kiwis were. They're desperate for a number 9 though, an out and out 9 and 6. I just think that who would have played at everyone at full strength? They can pick anyone. Who would have played 6 for him? Do you reckon?
For Tonga,
yeah,
probably Fainu, right?
Yeah, I was hot on Fainu, and then the last week there was the question mark about the Fiji thing, but him and Katoa would be a great combo.
Yeah. Well, especially for the future, right? You've got
100%.
something you can build around
They're
there
both
for a long time.
early 20s, thereabouts.
So really, it's probably number 9. Like, I know Latu Fainu was still relatively untested. Like, I know he's had some good games in NRL, whereas like Blaze Talangi for Samoa has like had quite a few games, and I think everyone can kind of see where he's at. Luai, you don't need to talk about that. Kiwis, we don't need to talk about their spine because we know how good it is. So the number 9, that's a big issue, I think, for them going forward, because like they've just Uelu, is that how you say it for Samoa?
Yep.
Uelu?
Yeah.
So
they've just unearthed him. He's in NRL number 9.
Yeah.
They've got Luai, Talangi and RTS at the back if they want, which is gun. Whereas I look at this Tongan side and I just go, there's a little bit concerned that they made all this progress with Katoa being 7, but they still don't have a 6, still don't have a 9 really. And if I'm being honest, like after Lehigh's first game, if Yongi wasn't in the side, is it Iongi or Iongi?
I think it's Yongi.
Yongi.
Yeah.
Okay. I would have been this close to maybe even putting in Yongi over Lehigh for second game. Like if Lehigh played his first game and Yongi was like in an extended bench and didn't play, I'd be nearly this close to bringing Yongi because I didn't think Lehigh had his best couple of games.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting come World Cup how they respond, right? Because the talent is there, the potential is there, but they'll be incredibly disappointed with this campaign. And as Hammy referenced, I felt like they built up momentum last year, and that's taken a big knock this year.
Yep, I'm with you. So, hope they can turn around. I do think, although they did make the final last year, I do get the feeling, though, that they need to tweak their game style and selection style a little bit. Like, I just think that, yes, the difference was that the Kiwis played a lot better, but I just think that when you watch the two teams played, one was playing like a modern team and one was playing, in my opinion, at least, it seemed like they were playing like an old school style of footy. But yeah, so they'll be disappointed. They'll be more disappointed than any of us guys. Hopefully they can pull it back together. Wolf is such a good... What's interesting as well, though, is like when you watch the Dolphins play, they are electric. And I'm just like... It feels like it's two different coaches, you know what I mean? Like, and I know it's two different teams with two different styles and body shapes and all that kind of stuff, but it's like, it's quite surprising that they played such a different style. And maybe it's all just down to they got dominated and they were missing too many players. Maybe that's the case, but tough couple of games for the Tongan side. And I will grant, as I said, yes, I understand they were missing quite a few players. So I'm not pretending they were like full strength and like all that, but I still believe the players that they had on paper shouldn't have, like they weren't really never in this game, respectfully. So, hopefully we see a massive, massive bounce back. Next game. PNG beat Fiji. Shout out to Good Day and Daylights. Go to begoodhealth.com.au. Get your multivitamin for Good Day and Daylights rehydration. Okay, PNG defeat Fiji 50-18. I mean, to be honest, it's like a little bit of a similar situation where you go, one team played a very cohesive style of rugby league. And granted, I would say, Fiji, like Tonga and New Zealand, you could argue New Zealand had a better side on paper. Whereas Fiji, I feel like you could argue they had a better side on paper. So it's even probably more disappointing. PNG defeat them 50-18. Great performance by PNG and IPAP, that number 9, like I know he signed a bazillion-year contract with the Super League side. Super smart from the Super League side. Far out. But, mate, get this bloke in the NRL. Get him in the NRL. He is a gun. Yeah,
and that's a great example of how much a 9 can have an impact on your team, right? And maybe that's where Tonga would love a player like him. But, again, this just seemed like... I had a feeling going into this one that it was almost going to be the perfect storm for PNG, right? At home, PNG, in front of a massive crowd that was just into it. And... they just went to another level. They were patient. They were way more structured and well balanced. And Fiji at times can be their own worst nightmare. And unfortunately, on occasions in this game, they were as well.
Did you get a chance to see PNG?
Haven't seen a great deal of this game. Just some sort of highlights and stuff like that.
Yep.
But mate, they lifted for that. Obviously, the vibe is pretty high over there at the moment. New team coming in and stuff. And you mentioned a couple of these guys. They're in the Super League or maybe a little bit off Broadway, but there's potentially an opportunity for some of these guys to be the basis for that team when it comes in, like IPAP and stuff. It'd be a great get for them.
Surely you get him in there. This is IPAP stats on the game. So he had 1 try assist, 7 runs for 118 metres, 7 tackle breaks, 2 line breaks, 2 line break assists, and offloads 17 tackles, only 2 misses. Outstanding game. And look, it's funny, like it's not like he's just come out of nowhere. Like he played like this a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I think it is really good evidence of a team that a lot of played to be combinations. They play probably more together than Fiji do. Because Fiji on paper is a bloody good side, but great signs for PNG. Really, really good signs. And it's just about consistency for PNG, I think. Like, they nearly got bloody run down by Cook Islands last week, so they just got to find a bit of consistency.
Just on them as well, a bit of a watch. We've spoken about the Titans a bit today, but Cooper Bye, he obviously had a try, some great input as well. Like, he was great in his his NRL debut against the Tigers as well. So he's one I reckon next year's going to have a big year with the Titans.
Yep.
For sure.
Totally agree. Absolute gun. Okay, so let's get to the next topic quickly. Actually, you know what? Just quickly, it's come up like the Storm clearing the decks. Could they be going after like a Jackson Purdue or something like that, do you reckon?
Maybe. I mean, they have got Farlongo at the back there.
Yeah.
Is he one that... Is he just clearing a bit of space to have a crack at Tino? Is that the...
I
Surely
reckon.
both. Surely both, though. Cause like,
reckon both?
Well, I reckon Happy would be on 700K. Nelson would be on 800K. So you're not going to be paying... You're not saying that Tino, you're going to pay a 1.5 to get them back to Storm.
You're probably going at least $1 million. Well, you're probably getting pretty close to 1.5 to get Tino.
Really? For Storm? If
Yep.
I'm Storm, I'm saying, mate, if you're coming here to win Prems, not get paid.
1.2 though, I reckon, or something like...
Really?
Because elsewhere he would get 1.5.
I'd be trying to get him down to like 900K, to be honest.
I don't reckon you get him.
You reckon? Fair,
Yeah.
fair.
But then they've probably got a few other blokes they got to
Upgrade.
give a little bit of a bump
Yeah.
up and stuff to keep them.
Yeah.
But if clearing all that and you get Tino, it's probably been a successful process.
True. And just quick shout out to Jason Saab running a 10.8 in the 100, a 10.8. And like, that's impressive enough just as it is. You know, go out there and a break 11. To do that with not much training and the muscle mass of a rugby league player, it is insane, bro. Like, basically what it says is if he was a full-time sprinter, he'd be low 10s. He'd be low 10s, which is crazy. Maybe even trying to break the 10s. I mean, his body shape's perfect with those long strides or whatever. But he ran a 10.8 at a legit meet. It was electric timing too, with no wind as well. With no wind. So that is, I mean, it almost rubber stamps that he is the fastest in the NRL. Almost rubber stamps. Granted, we have to see Savage and Cooler, who are actual sprinters. But, yeah, just want to let people know. Mate, we are all done and deuced. Is there anything else we need to do, Matty?
Yes, face the music.
Oh, that is true.
Let's face some. I've obviously got the two tests. I want to get some, result and a try score for them. But then after that, I want to get a horse for the Melbourne Cup as well. And of course, you'll be putting yours on the feed. I'll whack mine up on the feed as well. But obviously, yeah, that's happening tomorrow. Huge day, not only at sports, but everywhere around Australia and in New Zealand, I'm sure. Is it the race that stops your nation over there as well?
Yeah. People see it as a great excuse. Just, have a couple tins and enjoy themselves, dress up.
Yeah. How good's that? And it's at 1 p.m. for you guys as well,
Yes.
right in the middle of the day. So get to basically knock off work even earlier. All right, let's get stuck into it. So we'll start off with the footy first and foremost. We'll go with the final Ashes test, which is over at Leeds. This one, England, they're even further out than they were head-to-head for the last one. $6.50 Australia, $1.12. Kemp will probably be back on them at that price. And the line is 16.5 points.
I mean, what's 13 plus, sorry?
13 plus get you $1.57.
Oh,
A little bit too juicy for you.
It's too risky, mate. I will go. I'm off the nudie run. I'll just go. Yeah, I'll go. So $1.09 is probably your with the start.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah,
Straight with
Australia to cover the 16.5. And have you got a try scorer?
I'll go Hudson Young, mate. He's definitely scoring.
Yeah, jeez. Okay, style mine. That's okay. That's okay. Hopefully they rest him. That'd be funny.
Oh yeah, they might actually because of Preston.
Too late.
Angus
no,
Crichton,
no, too late, mate. You said Hudson Young.
I'll go Kangaroos 13 plus.
Good man, Searley. Yep.
And I'll go Angus Crichton to try and secure the old golden
The
boot.
boot.
Yeah.
Pinch it off Dill. Okay.
Wow. Hate your own nation. Wow.
Nah, just
I'll go Kangaroos 13 plus, and I'll go Nwani Tawaze.
No, I need to. Yeah, well, he hasn't scored yet. He's not a dual code try scorer yet. So over to him for this one. I'm going to go the Kangaroos to cover the 16.5, and I'll take Walshy to get one just before he heads back over here. Then the other game we've got New Zealand $1.65, Samoa $2.25, 2.5 is the line in this one at Combank Stadium this week.
Ooh.
That'll feel like that'll be a Samoa home game. You'd imagine the fans will turn
just
out
on
there.
that. It's crazy that final wasn't in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Why is it in Combank?
Imagine Samoa, New Zealand
Yeah.
at Eden Park or Mount Smart this weekend.
Yeah,
It would be massive.
I guess. Could you argue, not a neutral ground, maybe?
Or if you watch the first game, though, there were more Samoan fans
Yeah,
than
yeah.
Kiwi
Yeah,
fans
true,
out
true,
there. I
true.
just feel like
Oh.
potentially a missed opportunity.
Yeah, fair.
But-
I'm with maybe I suppose they wanted to give Samoan fans in Sydney one opportunity to go and see their team as well, possibly. So But I hear it would have been good to have it at a huge.
Yeah.
It'll be packed anyway, but
Oh, I think it's already sold out.
Wow.
So.
Yep.
Wow. I'll go Kiwis head.
Yep.
And anytime try scorer.
$1.65.
I'll go. You just wrapped him for doing a $1.50 bet, mate.
I'm just confirming what the price was. So you said
Hey, don't
defensive.
bring me into this.
Oh wow. Okay. Anytime try scorer, I'll go foreign. Like just
Oh,
In his last game, I like it.
romantic
Pops.
kind of stuff.
Did
Yeah.
you see him jamming out to Chris Brown with his
I
son?
did. I wasn't aware of your game, Follis.
No,
I
neither.
thought you were pretty straight edge, but mate, there's a bit like I was like, man, if I was a chick in a club, I don't know, that swagger.
Bit of bump and grind.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know he had the swagger in him. Can
Yeah.
you say that anymore as an old dude? Can you say swagger?
I thought you were cool. You'd know.
6'7", mate.
6'7". On that note, I'll go the Kiwis to cover, and I'll go Matty Tomoko try score.
Yeah, okay, nice.
I'll go Kiwis head to head, but I'll go Murray Talangi anytime.
Oh, okay, a little bit of a yeah. I'm going to go Kiwis to win. I'm going to go Dill Brown with one. Get the other foot in that shoe for the golden boot.
Is it like a Cinderella slip, you reckon, or is it like a two? You get two
He'll turn
golden
into a
boots?
pumpkin if he doesn't score. Is that what you're saying?
And then they're seeing them like pumpkins. Okay, that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
Do you reckon they get two slippers, or is it like a Cinderella kind of setup where like
No, it's one boot, golden boot.
one boot? You can't play footy with one boot.
No.
One golden one's quite cool.
Yeah.
though.
It's a bit
right.
stingy if
Like,
you're
you
right.
can-
Did that on the
Should've
man.
done two
Mix it up.
boots.
Yeah, true.
I reckon you know what would be mad if they connected with like a brand that made golden boots and gave them to the winner.
And that they're playing them the next season.
Yeah, and they wore them the whole year or something like that.
It's a bit like in the IPL where they've got the purple cap if they're the leading wicket taker.
yeah, see, there you
Do you
go.
reckon this golden boot, if he gets it, I reckon it could be the worst thing for him because he's going to be called the $12 million golden boot
Oh,
recruit. I reckon I've got alarm bells around this. Be like Nico Hines in Dally M.
Just quickly, I got an idea, boys. I reckon with all the jerseys reveals recently, and they were like a lot of them happening on the weekend. I reckon the NRL should lock teams into the 2-year rotation so they're all on the same rotation. And then I reckon in the off season, on the same day, maybe there's an event or whatever, all the jerseys get revealed on one day at Thingo. And the explanation as to how the jersey came together. Almost like a fashion week for blokes. That's what I reckon.
Fashion week.
A fashion week for rugby league.
Down Caxton Street.
And down
Footy
Caxton
Fashion
Street.
Week. Yeah, imagine
Footy
it down
Fashion
Caxton
Foot.
Street.
It'd be unbelievable. I reckon we should do a reveal jersey of every team every 2 years. Sorry, jersey reveal of every team every 2 years. It would go off. Merchandise
Jersey
sales.
reveal, like a gender reveal, like in a big balloon.
In a
where you
big
can't see
balloon.
through it and you pop it and it
Yep,
reveals
there
it.
you
Comes
go.
the kit.
Absolutely.
Wow.
I just think that jersey sales, that would count for like a lot of revenue generated in the NRL. And it's like, jerseys are such an important part of rugby league. I just reckon they could do more for it. That's my thoughts, boys.
Yeah.
Don't mind
Good
it.
thoughts.
Don't mind it? Thank you.
Make it
Not
happen.
bad thoughts? Good thoughts?
Ah, fantastic. Really
like
good
it.
thoughts. I like
Matty?
it. I do like it.
I love
Making
it.
a bit
I
of an
think it's a
event
great
of it.
idea.
Do we want to just lock in a quick Melbourne Cup
Oh,
tip as well?
apologies. I keep fucking ruining it for you.
you will be sorry.
Mate. Yeah, sorry, mate.
I know what one you're probably going to back here. Just
Yeah,
have a
you
look
already
at-
know, mate.
Yeah. I'm
Lock it
surprised
in?
it's not on your shirt.
Lock it in?
Yeah, go
You
on.
say?
Middle Earth.
Yeah. Locked in.
The nice little each way play. They're $46.
Easy
or
money.
$14.
Did you see Gandalf on his white horse? It's supposed to be like a god or something like
I
that.
must have missed it.
You must have missed it. Well, you don't know cinema, mate. Get a bit of culture about you.
Sorry. Sorry about him.
Watch the extended edition too. Don't watch the fucking normal one.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, did you see Gandalf riding on the white horse, like killing people, like bright lights and blinding people? Bro, it's a guaranteed win.
I reckon
Guaranteed
the
win.
stewards would have a good look at that if that unfolds on the Flemington Straits tomorrow.
Well, you know, it's magic though. Is there any rule against magic?
I think they're, yeah, I would assume so.
It says in the books, no
I'd have to
magic.
assume so.
No magic allowed.
Yeah, yeah. What about
Guaranteed win, Gandalf, Middle Earth. Thank you.
responsible?
There
Yeah.
I'll go
Yeah, obviously
Buckaroo.
responsible.
Why not?
Oh,
Buckaroo.
That's how I'm going as well.
Yep, nice. I'm taking flatten the curve, a little bit like that Tiger's shape late in the season.
Huge COVID guy.
Yeah, that's
Trying
right.
to flatten the curve.
Trying to flatten the
Friggin' heard that every
Big time.
day.
Bit of social distancing as well. Should be fantastic. Flatten the curve. It's being backed as well out of Germany, the big international raider as well.
Okay.
So not the worst, spelled WURST for all the German sausage fans out there. $17. It's been backed into $5.50, so a little each way play there too. But I'll whack that on the feed, flatten the curve.
Okay, there you go. Make sure to give Searley a follow. Anything coming up for you, mate, recently in the near future?
Obviously rounding out the international footy and then get back into NRL preseason kicks off soon for the lads,
Right,
so no
crazy.
doubt
Yes.
there'll be some content around that, and just the world of sport keeps rolling on. So.
Yeah, and you do other sports too, don't you?
Yeah,
Boxing and
all
all
sorts,
that. Yeah.
rugby, basketball, UFC, everything.
What a
basically.
bad stoppage from Joseph Parker.
Oh,
Bro,
Tell me
what are
about
we
it.
talking about?
Tell me about it.
The other guy's got a bigger fan base. They clearly want him to be world champion.
Yeah, and
He's
he-
been gifted 2 friggin'.
yeah, and he built up. I felt like Joe had earned the shot over
Yep.
the last 2 or 3 years.
Earned it. He
Loses
should have
one
got it a
fight,
year ago.
and now he doesn't get it.
Crazy.
Crazy.
Like, if you go and watch the Justice Hooney, Hooney was toweling this bloke up.
Yeah.
And then he gave him an 8 count. And yet I think he gave the other bloke a 12. Anyway, whatever. So make sure you Searley Talks Sport, is it?
Searley Talks Sport.
Searley Talks Sports on Instagram, is on Facebook as well.
Yep.
And YouTube.
Yep.
Okay, give it a follow,
Works.
all there. Mate, thank you so much for coming on. And for people, he flew all the way from New Zealand. So he's representing the Kiwis with pride. I respect it.
He's doing a FIFO. He's actually flying back.
Yeah, FIFO worker.
That's what us Kiwis do best.
Yeah,
FIFO work.
You know,
Yeah.
in the mines, doing the hard
Yeah.
yakka,
Yeah.
and then we fly back home.
Or come and live in Australia, but put shit on us the whole time.
Yeah, that too.
Nah.
That too.
I mean, I do it in New South Wales. Double agent, taking the taxpayers' money.
Yep.
Using your roads and just spitting on them, going, sucked in New South Wales. You lost another origin. Just
And on
joking.
that note,
Just joking, guys. Just joshing around. All right. We'll go and fuck ourselves. Thank you.
6-7.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.